Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the BFBS Pro League Season 2, mind you. I'm joined again here with Psycho and Sir Pegasus for another week of full-on Rocket League action, and we are very excited to see Playoff 2, aren't we, Psycho?
Absolutely, and it is a monstrous occasion because the first week, well, if it goes wrong for teams, it doesn't particularly matter. You've got plenty of competition left in you. Once today is over, we're entering that second half of the Pro League, and that's when things begin to get a little more dicey.
Yes, spicy indeed. Sir Pegasus, welcome back to another week. It's great to have you here again. Are you sick of us yet? I believe you're muted, Mr. Sir Pegasus. Is he muted?
Hello?
Hello. Now we can hear you. He joins us now.
I changed my browser. My mic wasn't set on it yet, but no, we're here now. We're here now. And not at all. Not at all. I'm very, very happy to be here and hearing Psycho talk about how this is going to be the halfway point for the qualifier stage somewhat breaks my heart a bit. It's gone way too fast.
You know, we're on the lobby this morning. We've just been recording another episode. For those of you who don't know, we have a podcast called The Lobby. It airs every Friday at midnight. We were just talking about being halfway. It's ridiculous. I can't believe we're at this stage already. Owen has been working really hard in the background to keep this thing running. We've got a full team behind us. But let's talk about the teams in front of us right now. We have two fantastic teams for our first match. Owen, what are we about to watch?
Yeah, so first series of the day is actually going to be an RAF derby. So we've got the RAF Nighthawks versus the RAF Storm Shadows. So this is the 6th and the 7th seeded teams coming out of group stage, or Swiss stage rather, from this main event. And on paper, these two are really quite inseparable in ways. And I know a lot of people refer to them as sort of the 2 and 3 rosters of the RAF. On paper, we've got a little bit of a favourite. I would probably lean towards the Storm Shadows for their playoff performance last week, but it's going to be a tight one.
No, indeed it will be. But we can take a look now at the playoffs bracket, and it will be, in fact, another busy session here at the BFBS Pro League. We've got another beautiful sweep, but a bit different from the last playoffs.
Yeah, we got that bit of a British Army Darmy actually returning for another playoff stage right at the very top with the Buzzards versus the Falcons, two teams which are growing quite a history throughout not only, of course, the BFBS Pro League, but in their own inter-services competitions as well. For the Falcons, this would be getting the monkey off their back if they could finally take them down. Either way, of course, with those upper rounds, they do have those 2 lives to burn.
Exactly that. And Owen, your thoughts on the Storm Shadows not appearing in the upper bracket this time round?
Yes, I'm not sure it's a massive surprise for me. The Storm Shadows, they were exceptional last week, and I kind of looked at their results and I was thinking, is that going to be something that they can translate across time? But ultimately, if you're in their position, all you need to secure is the top 8 in any sort of form. As long as you can make the lower round of 8, I think you're comfortable as long as that can be consistent across the 4 weeks. Because the large majority of teams, you would imagine, if they're scraping a few top 8s here or there, it's not going to be enough for good seeding come our grand finals at the end of September. But the Storm Shadows, I still think they're pretty well positioned, but they're going to want a whole lot more.
Absolutely. And between you both, is there any games really that really stand out for you, ones you're really excited to see?
Well, look, we got a matchup we're going to be covering, which is the RAF Derby. It's always hard to go against that series, especially with how closely seeded they are, with the amount of times these two teams have played for each other. And, of course, there is the whole Storm Shadows effect, isn't there? They see themselves as that token roster. This is the time to prove it. Nighthawks have already eliminated a fellow RAF team, actually, at the end of our Swiss stage stream last week. With the Mustangs, unfortunately, being brought down. So if they could also take down the Storm Shadows, the entire totem pole that the RAF has tried to build up completely collapses.
Absolutely. We've got Subi, Trinity, and Jonesy on side of the Nighthawks. Any of those key players that you're looking forward to seeing today?
Oh, for myself, I think the question is always, how do they perform as a trio? I think they're a roster which, as much as they might have a standout player in some people's minds, for me, it's a very even share of screen time they get between them, I have to say. Subi has long been sort of the magic man who comes up with so many highlight moments and has been referenced as being sort of the quiet character in the background by the likes of Daddy Boy last week. But boy, when the lights are shining and, you know, all the pressure is on him, does he deliver?
And absolutely, we've got a lot of returns actually from season 1 of the Pro League. A lot of the familiar faces we've seen through the grand final last year. But really, it's going to be spiced up with some new additions to the field. Owen, any key names you want to throw in there that have suddenly joined the BFBS Pro League cohort?
Yeah, definitely. So if we look on the side of the Storm Shadows, it's an old name, it's a legacy name, but full of new emerging talent. So we've got the likes of Action and Reedy on that roster, who quite simply weren't in the RAF playing last year. So they are brand new additions, and they are making such a difference. Reedy himself has been able to go through the likes of inter-services qualifiers and also RAF matches internally to fight for those invitational slots for this very Pro League as the MVP, the player that everyone looks at to do so much damage. He's mechanically very, very gifted, not all that much experience in a competitive setting. And so to be seeing this level of quality from that player this early is fantastic. Action, just the same, goes a bit under the radar as well. But we've seen him shine as sort of the MVP of this roster across our recent broadcasts.
No, and it's been wonderful to see everyone turn up again and again for the awesome stuff that we're providing here at BFBS. And Sir Pegasus, as our regular face of the BFBS program, if you like, what's been a highlight moment of this first half of our Rocket League season?
Oh, the highlight moment. We've had many excellent moments. I liked the pinch from deep that we saw. I believe that was during one of the first qualifiers. That was a pretty fun goal to watch. If we're going to go to the really, really small moments, that one really stood out. But I also really liked the way that our last stream just ended during the Swiss stage. That RAF derby, that complete recovery performance to even make it here in the top 8 in the first place, to completely change the course of their season. I find that really impressive, and I like that we get to continue to see that journey for the Nighthawks.
Absolutely, and I believe all of our players are ready, so I will hand over to the wonderful Psycho and Sir Pegasus. I'll stop yapping. Let's get into the games.
Well, thank you very much, Jonah. Legendary producer behind the scenes, doing so much handiwork for us, Pig. And Jonah is absolutely right. We do have the Storm Shadows and the Nighthawks pretty much ready and raring to go. Now, this is a match that has happened in before. If we look back to main event 1, it was Storm Shadows that managed to take that series.
Well, that's yet to be discovered, but Action will keep singing to that very same tune of main event 1. An immediate goal over here in the playoff stages sets them up nicely for the rest of the day. And you need to pick up that momentum already. The Storm Shadows seem to have it. That's the second goal picked up in the first 10 seconds, but ultimately there's that big goal at the end of the day. See if you can make that grand finals, to see if you can dislodge some of those upper teams of the tournament and earn as many points as possible. It is the longest road available for these two teams. 4 series in a row required.
Yeah, it's a difficult sort of uphill challenge, isn't it? As Trinity downfield is going to 50 this ball infield high and looping towards Action. And I think just instinctively, really, for the Nighthawks, the best case scenario for them is just to make sure that ball is in control. They don't want to lob it up high. No loose touches. Nice and controlled, I reckon.
Samez does well to take control in this corner, has 0 boost, but still impact can be felt to players were called for at that front post just to try and get it out of danger. Trinity needs to finish that job for them. Subi's got to make an offensive threat out of it. Bale could have been that final piece in the puzzle. It just doesn't quite connect. Now you see that clash in the center, waiting for that first bit of open space, and it does land to Subi.
Yeah, moving forward now. Trinity is going to be next to push this ball into the safety of the corner as Action PB just trying to keep that pressure firmly within their grasp. It's now complete domination really at the moment for Storm Shadows, just keeping this rotation flowing.
Ball back high. Reedy has to sit alone at deep. His first touch is crucial just to give some time for the second and third man to get behind. They have boosted the tank. Samaz uses that third to take the ball out forward, but Bale transitions it back over. Haven't seen too much danger off the back of any of these attacks, frankly, coming from the Nighthawks, although they are starting to take a bit more control. But when it comes to value, Storm Shadows certainly have had the fairer share.
Absolutely so, and Reedy and field towards action. And they're very much hungry for a third, but we're looking at the likes of Bale for his 1v1 capabilities, just able to beat not just one, but two, sometimes three players at a time if you give him space and 100 boost to work with. But what I feel the Nighthawks really struggle with in this composition is just having those opportunities. They struggle to get hold of the possession.
And while the stats will back that as well, only 2 shots on their side. Conversely, it is 5 for the Storm Shadows. Looks soon to be 6 if this build-up continues. Reedy makes sure to keep that ball in the offensive half, but doesn't immediately boom it forward. I like that close touch instead, trying to find Sammers. There's a lot more care in the touches coming from the Storm Shadows. Another ball going across towards a teammate. It's never just any of these hopeful clearances towards a backboard. That's too easy to clear for the defenders. Instead, there's space on the backboard. Action sees it. Reedy just cannot get the job done.
And Bale needs to transition this across. Finds Subi on the other side, but no contact found. And the ball loose in the midfield as a demo comes through from action. 0 boost from those 2 attacking orange defenders. And it's just a bit of a chokehold at the moment from Storm Shadows.
Yeah, Nighthawks really need to loosen this vice grip that Storm Shadows have had on them in this first game. Playoff days, you typically attribute to the best of 7s, but it is going to be a best of 5 for the entirety of this championship day. And that calls for a very, very quick response, which doesn't appear to have started. Flip reset on the backboard, went towards Reedy again, but Trinity had it covered.
Big boom and clear from action, and he does find Sammers on the opposite side. Action in hot pursuit of a bit of disruption, cuts in front of that ball as it comes in field now towards Reedy in front of net. Bouncer above the crossbar. Action to filter through, but no final product. Oh, yet still trying hard.
Bell and Subi doubling up at that front post as well. Still not finding a path of escape. It just oftentimes feels like they're delaying that inevitable, but that inevitable third strike has been attempted for the past 2 minutes now. They need that counterattack. They need that sense of possession. If anything, Storm Shadows have been the team giving them the lifeline.
Absolutely. It could easily be 3 at this point, couldn't it? They're just knocking on the door, and it's brute force at the moment required from Nighthawks to try and escape as all 3 hunker back. Almost accepting of their fate as Reedy, ever present in these offensive territories, slams that one through.
And we've seen some attempts off that backboard. We've seen players smash it off there, waiting for the second man to get there in time. But it was the one play which was half set up by a Nighthawks defender, which had a Storm Shadows player completely free on net. A consolation. Feels like it would be worth a lot more than that for the Nighthawks. The first goal in a series, I always feel, is the second hardest to score, minus the last.
Definitely, and it's move on to next game for the Nighthawks and try to basically just compose your mindset going into this next game, as I think really when there's a match like this and there's very little to take from it in terms of, well, this was going well, let's transition this to the next game. It's just a battle of the mind, really, isn't it, Pegasus?
Yeah, I think it's actually easier to look at what the Storm Shadows did well than what the Nighthawks did poorly. For me, it was how they were able to hold that possession, where the decisions were being made in their touches, oftentimes making sure that any 50-50s, any forced out clearances were heading towards a teammate. I just could not say the same about the Nighthawks. It's why oftentimes they felt trapped in the defense. Every touch was just led to another blue car, and that's why that inevitable mindset we had throughout that whole game was sustained. It felt like there needed to be just a bit more initiative on their end to pass it out the back.
I couldn't agree more with you, Pegasus. And, well, the Storm Shadows, they had a vice grip on main events number 1, and they truly shocked us in the commentary booth and all of their other competitors alike as the, on paper, number 2, arguably 3 from the RAF lineups. And, you know, we managed to see them push their way into that top 4 comfortably. There was no sweat. There was no tears. It is what they do. Consistency is the Storm Shadows.
And consistency is what you need in a format like this when you do qualify towards the lower bracket end as well. Samez isn't able to fight through Trinity. Action has to get that touch towards his own corner. Nighthawks, immediately you start to see them initiate a press, but Action will just simply skip past 2 players. Trinity is in that one-on-one versus Samez. The save is made. The Storm Shadows have got their players back, but there's a bit more bite on the half of Nighthawks.
Captain Samez eagerly awaiting a chance from the corner. And it's a little slip up on the end of the Nighthawks. Bale not found the touch on that boom. It's a tap away for Samez. He's going to take it.
The 2 of the most frustrating areas of the pitch to try and read, the waterfall and the corner. Both of them hit him at the same time. He's here with all the pressures of the playoff stages as well, and of course losing that first game so convincingly. That is a... about it in the quick chats, I actually think that's a good sign.
Maybe so, but hopefully it's not frustration in the camp of the Nighthawks at the moment. Action PB now with a world of space to work with, and opts for the 50-50, manages to get past 1, drags out the second man as well. Reedy now in a 1v1 situation, deals with it well.
Bale. Oh, that touch. Just favourable for his own team. Samez will pick it up, managed to poach away the first goal. The second is all on his lonesome. 3-08 forces through every single competitor. Your captain, your skipper, your superstar, whatever you want to call him, Samez is stepping up for the Storm Shadows.
And look, I know people are going to be watching that replay thinking, what just happened? He beat 3 of them with that. Well, it was a lovely fake, and that first man was dragged out. The 50-50 was perfect as well, or the dunk even, on that ball. And it's just a little bit of, well, genius from Samez, not to rush the shot, not to play the shot, just go for the dunk.
Oh, pass inside. Bale almost got the first goal of the series for the Nighthawks. Instead, it falls to Samez, wants to fake that first touch again, resorts to the 50, knows he has to buy some time for his teammates to get involved in that attack that allows them to initiate this high press, but that second man catch isn't going to fall their way, so the Nighthawks will take the most space they have done this entire game, but no one's on the inside. Reedy had a chance to reach it, but Bale is going to have no complaints to find the first of the Nighthawks.
Oh, and it's all thanks to that huge bump on the backboard, waving goodbye to Action PB, who did his best to hold solid ground on that front post backboard. And it's that disruption that Nighthawks can deliver. They're a frustration, they're a thorn in the side when they're playing their best.
You had to force them to panic. They've been a bit too comfortable throughout the first 2 games we have seen so far, and that's the first real time of asking. That's how the Nighthawks have been rewarded. Lord Bale, Nick was looking for more of a Ronzi clear there instead. That one just stays halfway down line, front-facing Storm Shadow. Shouldn't struggle too much to defend this one in the corner. But the Nighthawks have Subi to work their way inside. Space has opened up again! But Bale, a bit too slow to the mark, can't get involved. There's still the resulting chaos from that initial bump. Another is added by Trinity, but a back pass is prevented by Action. Another intercept is called for, and it's Samez to give them a moment to breathe.
That's more like it, Nighthawks. This is what we came to see as the fake comes through. Trinity towards net, but no crisp, crunchy contact on that ball as Subi has it all to play for by himself. Trinity up next. And Action PB has broke the deadlock. He's found freedom in the corner.
Oh, straight back to Sammez, the star man, the superstar can't find the top corner. And the second man to attack as well is failed, so it's a 2v1 action. Brings it down to the 1. But by that time, already forced out of position. And the King grabs the second equalizer for the Nighthawks.
There is no signs of slowing down, is there, Pegasus? It's been the best part of 2 minutes of relentless pressure now from the Nighthawks. I spoke about how they struggled to sustain that attack. They seem to have found that answer, and it's coming from that first man extension, going towards those bumps, those demos, those boost steals, and really just there's been no response so far from Storm Shadows.
And we were saying that there's been no response from Nighthawks in the first game as well. This is how quickly that these games can change action. You could see Sam, as you know, the immediate option, the immediate threat. Nighthawks recognized it as well. Now they create their own, but Samez, another pinch out wide, just about squeezes that ball past Subi. Trinity has that ball drop behind, but he's still quicker to the mark, stays resourceful, catches it off the half turn, and immediately we're going corner from corner. This game turns to ping pong.
Pretty smartly choosing to bail out of that touch and just opted to take control later on. Action now over to the left-hand side. Tries to spot his man, Reedy, over there. And it's going to be an infield ball towards Reedy. Air dribble touch, very, very heavy. It's going to give a chance now for Nighthawks in the corner.
Action. It's an unconvincing strike. And Bale doesn't get a recovery they're looking for either. Time was given by that boom regardless. Samez saw 3 orange cards in front of him. The first one was still too tough to fight. Subi wanted that space at the backboard. You saw for a second, Action was thinking of dropping to ground. That quick change in decision kept the ball out of the danger area. It could save them this game in the dying seconds, but still, ball off the ground. The chances stay alive. Subi is up, tries to find Bale on the corner instead. Has to get this one to another teammate that will eventually touch base. And we reach an overtime in the second game.
Well, maybe not the picture you imagined would unfold here through the mist of what was a heavy defeat in Game 1. The Nighthawks looking seriously promising, but they need to deal with these individual threats. Ball bound to the backboard as Samez now with time to control. Just opts for the heavy touch, trying to make that defense work.
Subi will surely win this race towards the ball. Again, 2 players on the inside. It's very predictable, and that's why you saw a player jump up early. Still could not make the read towards the ball. It's been a group of heavy touches ever since the start of the overtime phase. We haven't really seen anyone take control. This has been somewhat of a reset to the game state on either side. And of course, that pressure of having to score that next goal starting to be felt, especially on the side of the Nighthawks. Action, big clearance out, but Trinity, despite being awkward, will still challenge for the 50.
He's got a 1v1 chance, darts around Samez. Subi up next as Bale commits for that ball. That's going to leave a gap in the midfield. And there is that loose ball. Trickles all the way back down to that orange half.
The race from Trinity is lost towards the force of Action. The King of Snail, Lord Bale, sends it right towards the other side. Redirects isn't going to attempt to keep her, and Samez has been waiting for his hat-trick for quite some time. He won't get it from this opportunity. Reedy is doubtful of any second touches. Instead, it falls to Action. The difference we've seen from regulation to the main play, but the same attempts at the infield passes remain from Storm Shadows.
You talk about predictability. I did not see that coming, but their opposition did. They're still holding on. Nighthawks now downfield. Subi, again, a 1v1 to press his agenda, almost finding a bit of fortune from that opportunity as the ball now trickles towards the wall. Reedy with a massive clear to wave goodbye to any of that threat coming the other end.
Samez is up early to this one. Trinity has 0 boost. That's going to be a very tough recovery. They're temporarily down about it. Action will take advantage doubles up on the series score sheet and completes a 100% goal contribution for Samez as well.
It's a massive game for the Storm Shadows, and now Nighthawks faced with a near impossible situation, dare I say, Pegasus. They are against the kings of consistency, but boy, was that a step above in terms of a performance. Nighthawks, they brought to the table a lot of resilience, and honestly, I think they could have squeezed in a few more opportunities. I think those 1v1 situations maybe taken a little bit sloppily, a bit too direct. And what I want to see is them just work around the defense that little bit more, maybe shuffle the ball into the corners, push it to the areas with a bit more space on the pitch, Pegasus, and open up from there.
That's what the Storm Shadows are so good at doing, and specifically Samez. I knew no matter what the result of this game was, he was going to be my MVP, frankly, for how he started that game. When we saw him do the 1v3 play, that was already after 2 or 3 opportunities that had gone straight towards him, with many thanks actually to Action, who has been the real facilitator for the roster. But when Samez has achieved possession, quite a lot of the time I recognize that he actually didn't have that much boost from tank, but he gets himself into these great spots, knows how to adjust his game to the resources he has, and that constantly just puts the Nighthawks on edge. You can't particularly boost starve him. You've just got to get him off the pitch, or make sure you can read all of the different things that he is capable of going for. It was that extra bit of magic that got them that final goal as well. For the Nighthawks, I fear that the series was decided by that close OT.
Yeah, definitely so. And I do believe there's a little bit of a tech problem on the end of the Nighthawks at the moment. So they're just going to take a couple of minutes to restart their games. But I think RF Storm Shadows, they know the threats. They know the method of attack. That's for sure, that Nighthawks are bringing to the table. We saw that first man every single time he's finished his play. Loop back around, go to demo that third man, and it opened up so much space for them, didn't it? There was maybe 3 or 4 opportunities off the back of that alone, but unfortunately the follow-ups just weren't quite fast enough, and you can't really blame them for that either, because, well, committing your first man for a demo, that's something. Committing the second to follow up as well, suddenly that's half your team gone against a team that can be very punishing in 1v1 situations.
Players are back onto the pitch for the third and potentially final game of this series. The Storm Shadows can go all the way and pick up another result. Although we saw how quickly the dynamics of a game can change just with that little bit of a gap between them. Game 1 was complete dominance, but Nighthawks did start to get it together. If they can build upon that last performance, well, they didn't have much more to go. There's the first goal they've been looking for, their first lead in this entire series, and a lot of that comes from the trickery of Trinity.
And it's a glimmer of hope, isn't it? A little sparkle. And the Nighthawks are going to be riding that high for the next 4 minutes of game time. And they have found themselves in a situation in this series where they have just looked like they're beaten up. Action PB, take a bow.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgraceful. That's against his own men. That's against his fellow forces in the RAF. How could you? Samez straight on the kickoff, tries to double down as well, but the lead doesn't fall that easily.
It's a shot towards target, but Trinity hoofs it forwards. King of Snail. Bale's going to whiff out on that one, and they're going to need a bit of resilience to piece it together with very low resources. Lord Bale at the front post extends out. Reedy feeding the ball desperately, fighting to push it in field, but to no avail.
You're seeing all 3 blue cards stay very close to the play when it is in the midfield, but as soon as it gets to the corner, that's when they start to spread out constantly, playing for those quick cheats, transitioning to go for a lot of these infield. The bump from Reedy doesn't quite land, but Samez still causing enough trouble at this front post. Trinity sees through all the chaos, doesn't land a bump on Action. Reedy gets a touch, which you might regret later. Now Subi's up to take the challenge, but it's off that backboard. No one's there to get the shot on, so Samez can delay for his teammates for the next round of attack.
Subi has an option on that left-hand side, but Reedy has smelt it and dealt with it very quickly. There's Trinity now to that right-hand side. cannot find another player in orange, and we're seeing this orange roster really just hunker back.
Oh.
It's a gorgeous attempt from Reedy. It's going to force Subi out the play, and look at the boost on this orange side.
It's desperate. And Trinity does waste the last they have as well. Subi's big clearance, though, is going to pay dividends for the rest of the team. Reedy's missed touch as well just gives those extra few seconds, and they do make all the difference in a game like this. As to those double commits, that's a small gap waiting to be exploited. That shot towards the back post, though, is going to be confidently saved by Bale.
Oh.
Samaz from the off angle, though, just consistently finds a way to be a pain for the opposing defense. Action shot, there's already been a bump, no goalkeeper called for, and those open nets are not going to be wasted by action.
Whatever you can do, I can do better. That's what Reedy has often said. With the way he approaches the field, that one there was textbook, straight out of the Nighthawks playbook.
Or Bale brings it out once more. 3 goals scored. And with the favour towards the Storm Shadows, this could be a short series to start off the day. Nighthawks have shown so much potential, but when you call for consistency, Storm Shadows are your answer. It's a hat-trick for action, a 50% conversion to get to this very point. It's all starting to fall apart for the opposing RAF.
When it rains, it pours, Pegasus, and unfortunately, the floodgates have well and truly opened up now for Storm Shadows to let loose on what they do best. That is pressure, pressure, pressure. They push for their 4th goal. That's another bump from action as well. And at this point, it's not even just sabotage, it's griefing. It's disgusting.
They are drenched, and now they're being left out to dry. 4-1 with momentum, which doesn't seem like it's going to turn around anytime soon. But when you look at that time on the clock, on paper, this is doable. In practice, I'm still looking for more. Reedy might give us some. Off that corner, doesn't quite find the target.
Nice little 50 from Trinity. This is the chance. And with such little left on the clock, they're going to want to take it. Lord Bale now for the 1v1 situation. Goes in field towards action. Big old whisk on that front post backboard. And look at Trin over on the opposite side. Nabbed the 100 boost. Ready and raring to put in a second.
It was the right balance of urgency and time taken in that corner. He's called the king of snells. He's got to know when to slow down. Waited for that first touch, lured the player in, and then got it into the center in quick time. That's the confidence booster. That's what you need when you have 1 minute left on the clock on your final life.
50. It's low from Bale. He's found a 50 on the second man as well. Subi now with a double touch chance off the wall. Plays it towards the side. Maybe could have done with going for the riskier shot there. Push it in field with the redirect, but the shot's going to come through! Nonetheless, dropping down from the heavens. It's a loose ball in front of net, and Trinity eats it right on up.
Is this happening? First series of the day at the playoffs. The Storm Shadows are getting challenged to the very bitter end. There's going to be a lot of focus on this kickoff. It does go towards the Nighthawks side, but that missed touch from Subi. Instead, falls to action, pass out to Reedy. That is unbelievable.
RF Nighthawks are going to want a retake. They're going to want to cut this scene, scrap it from memory. But unless they've got something truly magic to offer, this might just be where the movie ends for Nighthawks. They need possession of this kickoff, desperately so. 100 boost from Bale, 1v3 situation now to get past those defenders.
Not every fairy tale has a happy ending. And the Storm Shadows will be proudly the villains in this case. That is a great dunk, though, at that front post to stop any further opportunities from the Storm Shadows. It felt like that 5th goal had already secured it for them. A 6th would have definitely been the case. They need to get it out of their own half. It has to happen now. Instead, Action Strike might not have found the back of the net, but either way, that was the finishing blow. The seconds dwindled down, and the Storm Shadows advance in the Qual 2 playoffs.
And it is going to be momentum riding in Storm Shadow's favour from this point going forward. Who knows, maybe they are capable of repeating history. A top 4 performance potentially on the cards, but that is them through to the lower round of 6 where, well, honestly, Pegasus, it's going to be a challenge up from here. So many titans of this game coming down to face them there potentially.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard run for the rest of the day. I mean, when you do start off in that lower round 1, you do expect that the competition gets harder as time goes on. And, well, Jonah, what a first series that we were given, though, for the stream.
Aren't we spoiled? We're never let down, let's be real. Is it how we expect it to go, though?
I'll tell you, for me, Pegasus, if I had to predict a scoreline going into it, Nighthawks, close your ears. I thought it was going to be a sweep. I did think Storm Shadows are just so consistent at the moment. And it's not as if they have the highest of highs, the absolute peaks in their sort of, what their gameplay can look like. But what they offer is an extremely high floor. There are rarely any big mistakes coming out from this roster. And you need to get creative with how you approach them. You need to do what Nighthawks were rightly attempting in that series. Push your agenda, have a strategy. And unfortunately, it just wasn't enough for them.
They're consistently sending that ball singing to the back of the net every single time. I mean, we look at the performance of them over the sort of the last season even, and we just see consistency and consistent improvement as well. I mean, obviously a lot of help from their coaches as well, with Stelios and Cedric in sort of the back end, giving a lot of help and assistance from there. But speaking of singing, Psycho, did I detect a few song lyrics quoted throughout that series?
If it did happen, it was a mistake, but it was a happy mistake. You'll have to tell me what they were earlier. Jonah was nicely quoting a moment from last week in our podcast, and I completely forgot it happened. Honestly, these series, pew, they whiz on by. You remember the moments. You don't remember what you say.
Absolutely. And a bit of Caster's Curse going on there as well. I mean, Sir Pegasus, a couple times you went, whoa, that's not looking too good there for the Storm Shadows. And then all of a sudden, it was a complete reverse. Uno Reverso card was played. And there we go.
I don't know how they kept doing it. It felt like whenever the pressure was piled on for the Nighthawks, there definitely was a bit of an adjustment period from the Storm Shadows. But the difference between them and many of the other teams in the tournament, and I'm sure that Psycho can attest to this is part of that consistency, they can adjust it within the game. Whereas when you saw the Nighthawks have their best performance in that second game, there were no signs of that in the first. But when the Storm Shadows looked like they were starting to get overpowered by their opposition, it was in the space of a goal replay, or in the space of time it took to take that kickoff in that second game overtime, for example, where everything changed for them and all of a sudden control was back on their side. It's very, very impressive.
Absolutely. Yeah. And during that first game with the overtime as well, did that guys sort of put your thoughts and feelings at sort of risk? You know, you said at the start there that you thought it was going to be a bit of a sweep. With that overtime during the first game, did you guys think that was sort of maybe not going to happen?
I mean, honestly, Nighthawks impressed me with their approach more than anything. And I think ultimately that scoreline was just down to a few key moments that they let slip. And I think defensively, more so than anything else, they were really struggling with those corner balls, those high backboard plays, and the disruption towards the end from the Storm Shadows. So it's a whole host of sort of errors that you have to try and work out as you go. And that's so increasingly more difficult when you're under the spotlight and when you've got the pressure to perform. But yeah, just a bit of sort of tidying up that near post, and I reckon Nighthawks are smiling going forward.
Well, you heard it here from the man himself, folks. Psycho has spoken. All shall kneel. But no, that is it for this first series. We'll be back after a short break with some more action. See you in a bit.
lagging. What do you do?
Good enough can cost you the game. So stop settling. Wifinity is built for real life on base, so you can game without compromise. Posted somewhere new? Take your Wi-Fi with you, no hassle. Get fast, reliable Wi-Fi with Wifinity. Use code BFBS50 to get 50% off the first 3 months.
Well. We are back for another game, but St. Pegasus has transformed into the, let me get this right, Royal Navy Esports Gaming Coordinator, former head of Royal Navy Esports Rocket League, Dilza T! Welcome to the stream, my friend. Welcome. I said welcome back.
There's Targaryen there with that big title. Thank you. I'm so buzzing to be back, and I cannot wait to watch some Rocket League with you guys. That last series was absolutely fantastic, and I just know this next one's going to be even better.
No pressure for your guys here, but the next game we've got coming up, Royal Navy Krakens versus RAF Storm Shadows. How do you think this one's going to go, Dilza? Unbiased, obviously.
You can't look past that Storm Shadows name. That's such a legacy name. It's had some big ball players in there, and it's been absolutely fantastic. But this new Krakens team, they're looking good. I'm not going to be biased. They're looking good. Check if wrong, but I believe they took the game off Storm Shadows last week, so they've got running on that. So I think it could go either way. I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic series. But I'm not going to be biased. I'm not going to say any score because I'm not that kind of guy.
Oh, I'm glad you're not going to be biased. You know, like, I struggle really hard with still not being army biased, but, you know, I stay impartial now. But anyway, enough of the chit-chat. Psycho, what do you think of this matchup? Was this something you were expecting to happen?
Oh, I mean, coming into the main event generally, if I looked at the teams going into Swiss, I would not have predicted the Royal Navy Krakens 3-1ing out of their Swiss and making that upper bracket. They are third seed coming out of Swiss. They are arguably leaps and bounds ahead of this Storm Shadows team, just based off of recent performance. We've watched them on stream last week as well. They were absolutely delightful to watch coming through that qualification match. And RF Storm Shadows, they're still riding on the highs of consistencies. But the Royal Navy Krakens, if there is a time to make history for them, it is right here, right now in this series, Jonah, and I cannot underestimate its importance. The points on the line, BFBS Pro League Finals qualification, potentially going to be heavily influenced by this result. It is as big as it gets, Jonah.
We might, in fact, see one or both of these teams at RAF Museum in Hendon. I mean, we're pretty excited to see who turns up, and obviously it's still up in the air as to who that might be. But we have rustled some feathers, Psycho, in the playoffs bracket itself. Let's take a look here at the graphic. Things have maybe not gone as we once assumed.
Yeah, maybe not, but if we look towards the upper round of 6 matchup, which was the British Army Derby, that one's gone as expected. The Buzzards 3-0ing their counterparts in the second British Army Esports team in the Falcons. And then just below that, the Royal Navy Krakens getting beaten by the SEA Dragons 3-0. They are on paper my team to win the entire thing. So do I think that's a major upset? Not particularly, but RAF Typhoons having a game taken away from them by the Kestrels is a little bit of a surprise. Now, the Kestrels are not to be scoffed at. They're a fantastic team in their own right, but Typhoons, they might be a bit disgrunted by that.
No, absolutely. I mean, well, we're going to see this time and time again, right, where we have a little bit of an upset. Maybe one game goes their way. Maybe we see a bit of a momentum shift. We know within esports as a whole how important that momentum is. Dilza, with the Krakens, have you seen a lot of momentum shift with them?
Oh, absolutely. I think off the first week, I think they didn't do quite as well as they thought they were going to. So they felt a bit down, all that kind of stuff. But last week, going in that, doing really well. I've seen a massive momentum shift. I've seen lots of positive attitude. I know after I jumped into the comms after last week, and they were all screaming and shouting. They all having a fantastic time. So I think that's just going to make them play better. They're gelling as a team. They're playing consistently week in, week out. I think they're just going to get better, and I cannot wait to see where they go.
More energy, more passion, as that one song once said. But nonetheless, with the game, the players are loading into the lobby as we speak. We're just waiting for a few more. But Psycho, any other closing points from you?
I don't think this series can really be bigged up as it needs to be without watching the action on the pitch, because the Royal Navy Krakens, they have a giant set of expectations going into this game, knowing its importance. Of course, if they do graduate through to that semi-finals, they're looking towards the 9-point range from this week. And this is a team that failed to qualify for the top 8 last week. So it's growing in importance, these sorts of little really rough matches. And Dilzer, you alluded to the fact that Storm Shadows, well, you took a game off of them previously. This time, they're going to need to take a series. So we'll see how it unfolds.
And now, Dilzer, you've seen the sort of how Storm Shadows have performed. Have your expectations changed from maybe perhaps before you'd seen that last match?
So I like to judge the teams off how much they make me want to uninstall the game when I play them. And I have to admit, when I played the Storm Shadows last week, I wanted to uninstall that game. So I know what the guys are doing. Samez, Action, that goal in the last series has been absolutely fantastic. I think they're going to bring it the absolute A game. I think they're going to be giving it everything they've got, and that's all you can ask for. And I love being on the BFBS Pro League stream so much, so I want a game 5 just so we can see that series and I can be on here even longer.
Absolutely, and I believe all the players are ready, so enough yap from me, and it's over to you two to take us into the game.
Well, thank you very much, Jonah. This is the big one, Dilzer. And I know as best as you're probably trying to hide it, you might be sweating a little bit for this one. Of course, it is the Royal Navy Krakens versus the legacy team throughout history from the Royal Air Force. Long have they been the undefeated, the unbeatable in terms of the name value alone. But the Krakens are here to play.
Oh yeah, you got it absolutely bang on the money there. The sweat is probably on every part of my body right now. And that's just because I know what this means to these players. I know they'll be buzzing in the air. I know the Storm Shadows will be the exact same. I just know they're going to be going out all hell down. We've got a good bit of attack there as well. And I just think this is going to be a crappy series.
It is going to be that. And Tyler is initially putting on a little bit of pressure to test this orange team. Samez pushes the ball towards the corner, and we look at players like Stimplebog. They have been around for quite some time on a Royal Navy rosters throughout history. Poggy I've not had the chance to see much of until this very moment of Pro League Season 2, and it's just the way they gel together as a trio. It seems as if there is no real standout player. Just as a unit, they work so incredibly hard.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest problems consistent with the Krakens, or the Orcas as they're performing those, they always had that 2-man, they never had that solid 3 player. And I just think we're getting them the chance to play together, play consistently as well with Horizons. As a 4th, that's a good shot from Sam is there just to the right. With that, the 4 they're consistently playing week in, week out, and that's really building up momentum. Action's going to go for this, see what he does, or a good defence there.
Good effort from Samez, and it's tested the keeper, and it's done more than test the keeper. And already we start to hear the sighs from Dilzer. Samez, as much as he didn't get a second touch on that, he's done enough hard work to stretch that defence.
Yeah, I didn't know my mic was so sensitive to hear the sigh, but I wouldn't quite say I can hear the saxophones yet. I know these boys are going to come back and they're going to be even more hungry now after them getting that goal. And I just look to see what Poggy's doing there, takes a little flick there. I have to say, the Storm Shadows have been consistent attack the last 1 minute 40 seconds, have been smashing the balls in. That's another shot there from Samez. What a goal. This could be dangerous. Storm Shadows, they've smelled blood, they've liked the taste of it, and we're coming for more.
I mean, Tyler's really well positioned to deal with it at the back post, and unfortunately, well, Samez has just scored a wonder goal, hasn't he? He's poached that top left-hand corner, and the Storm Shadows are all smiles. 2 goals up early on as Tyler falls victim to a bit of a fake kickoff, and the routine plays are something that's in the Storm Shadows locker too. That's a squeeze past the final defender from Action, and it's a gorgeous play, I have to say, Dylan.
Yeah, well, I can't deny that was a lovely goal from Action there, taking it up to the side, popping it in. 3 goals in 2 minutes. As a Hammerheads player, I've seen much worse and much shorter, so I'm not putting it down to these Krakens players. I think they're still going to come back full hungry, but at least the Storm Shadows team's looking good.
Absolutely, and I don't know if I could be really cheeky and ask, what is sort of the attitude in the Krakens camp when it comes to the comms? Is it all sort of, all guns blazing? Is it quick fire communication, or is they take it a little bit more relaxed, shall we say?
they're quite a relaxed team, to be fair. They're all except from Tyler, who I think is 20, they're all kind of older guys, so they're quite more laid back. They still get the comms, and I know when they don't get their comms right, that's one of their biggest issues. That's one of the things they talk about most, is we need to get those comms right. We need to make sure we're telling each other what we're doing. But I think with guys like Stimp, I call him the Uncle Valley in esports. He's got that experience, and Poggy's going to take a flick there. Good save from Action there, put it to the side. Yeah, we Stimp with that Unk kind of. Oh, there we go. That's the one goal from Tyler there.
That is a stupidly good angle. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure where he's found it. I thought he was placing that ball to the backboard. He's gone for the goal, and it's caught the defenders and myself by shock. Gorgeous way to get started.
What an angle. And I have to say, from looking back to Inter-Services, looking at all the new players we've got recently, Tyler coming into the teams, he's been really, really impressive. I think he's done really well going into that Kraken's team and just showing everyone, especially on the BFBS Pro League, just the kind of player he is and the calibre of skill he has.
Definitely so, and I remember looking at the inter-services and the likes of events before that even, Dylan, and we were sort of remarking as Horizons being that player for the Navy across such an extended period of time. And we were really just looking towards to be that hero, be that highlight man. Maybe, who knows, it could be Tyler who's slipping into this roster as that next big figure throughout history. That's a good shot towards the net, but wide of its mark.
Yeah, the most frustrating thing is I can't even take the claim for pulling Tyler into the teams. It was actually Matty that found them, so I can't even claim that. But yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic. Stimp, he's a consistent first team player. He always has been. He was in the org way before me. Stimp's going to go for the shot here. Good save. He was in the org way before me. He's held that first team position really well. The most consistent player. Just unfortunate with time off and getting events.
Yeah, it's a difficult balance, isn't it? And of course, we try and make this league as flexible as possible for the players, but it is a big commitment, isn't it? And it really does require a love and a passion for what you do. And of course, a shout out to Matty, who you referenced, the current Royal Navy Rocket League lead for the Navy. It's Tyler now downfield for the solo play. Can't quite make it stick.
So we've got 48 seconds, two up to Storm Shadows. Get another shot here. Good shot from Tyler there. There's still time. He's going to take this off the roof, and looks like Poggy's got for it. Good little attack there. I think we've still got 30 seconds left, so it's still all to play for, but I think the Krakens will go into this second game all guns blazing. I think they won't let this get them down, which will be a really big part, and I think that will kind of help them get that momentum back up and get back and shifting, because once they're on the attack, they don't stop, and I think that's just the point they need to get at now.
Yeah, I'm completely with you there. They have been able to sort of thwart the bleeding, but they're actually going to pounce with an incredibly quick counter-attack. That ball delivered pinpoint accuracy from Tyler over to Stimple downfield, and they found something from nothing, but they're going to have to do it again with 15 seconds.
A lot can happen in 15 seconds. There's some crazy angles. I'm hoping one of them can pull another one out again. But Storm Shadows have looked solid. Like, I can't do anything past them. They've been attacking, they've been defending. Tyler's going to pop that in. Good defense from Action here, popping it back up to the middle. G-Wood, is he going to go for this? Tyler's going to get that. Just above the bar. It looks like this game is going. They're going to keep. Let's go for that real zero. Keep it up. Poggy's going to keep it up. Can we get a last second magic? Oh, there we go. Storm Shadows take that first game.
Yeah, it's a solid performance from the Storm Shadows, albeit well fought from the Royal Navy Krakens. And I was really looking at the start of this game, Dilza, and I have to be honest with you, it was kind of like head in hands moment. I was like, oh gosh, don't be like this for the rest of the series. But boy, did they acclimatise quickly. I think within the first 2 minutes of play, that early bleeding was cut off. It was thwarted, and they were able to come up with some lovely opportunities.
Absolutely. I think it was like 30 seconds the second goal went in. I was like, I could hear the saxophones in the house, you know what I mean? But they came back, they got some crazy angles, some good shots, and I think they're going to go into this game too. Guns blazing, gung-ho, all the other sayings you can use, and just ready to pounce.
Absolutely so, but they're going to need to withstand an attack from the corner early on. G-Wood shoves the ball towards the backboard, and Stimplebog eager to get rid. That's a hoof to the backboard, and an equally good clearance from Samez. And Tyler's going to have to kill a bit of time here.
Oh, good defense there. Poggy with a big bash, pushing that back up. Stimple's chasing with G-Wood popping that to the left. Action just beats him to it there. Looks like Tyler's going to go for that top. He's going to be up for a double. No, Samez is there. Samez is always there. Poggy's going to pop that down to the side. Stimple popping that back up. It's been a good little bit of attack. That's kind of 30 seconds. I'm glad 2 goals haven't went out in the first 30 seconds.
Certainly an improvement, isn't it? And I think it's comfortability really that Krakens always long for and they chase in their matches. And during that Swiss stage for this particular main event, that's what I was looking at from them and thinking, wow, this is making them genuinely a top 3 team in my mind on paper on a good day. It's just, you know, those lows unfortunately are just nagging at them. But they've kept it to a 0-goal scoreline at the moment. It's looking very, very positive indeed.
Yeah, it's looking very positive. This game has been a lot more back and forth than the last game, I think. Kyle's going to pop this up, good luck defence from Sammy's popping up from there. Giroud's going to go up for that second. Yeah, I think going into this game, they'll not let the heads go down. Hopefully the Sea Dragons game's not let their heads go down as well. But looks like their confidence is back up this game. They're going for more for the attack. Poggy's going to take a shot just wide, unfortunate reaction, putting that off to the left.
Oh, it's a game of inches, and unfortunately he's fallen victim to the woodwork. It's a really close scrape against the post. And they're going to have to reset from the back now and start it all again. Stimplebog dunked away by Action PB as that ball drops perilously in front of net. Sam is now over to the backboard. He's going to make Poggy stretch to get that ball away, but Stimple, the saviour in that case.
Yeah, like I said, a few inches there taking it away. I'm going to email Psyonix right now and ask him to move the goalpost a couple of centimetres.
You know what? I would like to give a big thank you to all the friendly folks at Psyonix and Blast who we've been communicating with in order to get this tournament running, of course, as Action PB is going to slam this ball towards net, blocked away by Stimplebog. And you know, there is always double goal. I don't know if you've ever played that, Dilza, but it's always a good way to get something going. Poggy is going to emerge from a smoke field, really, in the midfield and come away with a goal.
Just came absolutely, no boost, came out of nowhere. I just had one mission, one goal, and he's achieved it there, smashing that straight in. I think that's going to give the Krakens a good bit of confidence. Hopefully, I think this will allow them to attack a bit more, maybe be a bit more persuasive up in the net, and just keep on with that kind of momentum. That's what Krakens really get out really useful.
Definitely, and I don't really sort of liken Krakens to be one of those really annoying teams you reference to play, like Storm Shadows. You said they make you want to uninstall when they're firing on all cylinders. Krakens, they don't play with as much disruption. The bumps and the demos and the likes don't really come through as much. It's all about those passes in between each other, those bits of team working, but they found another gear with that demo, and maybe that's going to give them some more inspiration going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only game I remember when I was playing last week was against the Storm Shadows, just because I think Samus was just clipping on me for 15 minutes straight. So it was that's the only one I can think of. But they are a really good team to play. They're so good. The guys have been playing together for so long.
Oh,
that was unfortunate there.
Action PB's almost plopped the ball into his own net, and he was trying to come across goal. To his teammates' dismay, that ball's going to drop down off the backboard now. As Tyler sifts into the play, it's a heavy ball against the sidewall to set himself up. There was no infield man to follow the pass, but Poggy now for a 50-50 infield. Tyler and Stimple waging their wars, sat nice and deep on the pitch. As Stimple now for the double touch towards net. It's not quite going to be in, but the follow-up is good enough from Tyler. It's more than good. It's perfection from the Krakens.
Tyler was just waiting there. He was like a little wolf, just waiting to pounce there, getting that in the top corner. I think he knew exactly what he was waiting on there, and Stimp going up straight off that backboard, making him able to hit that. So I think 2-0, it's a good safety blanket, but as many commentators say, this is Rocket League, and 2 goals doesn't mean anything in the space of a minute.
It certainly doesn't, but they're keen to get a game on the board, and they don't have long to hold out. Action PB's going to best his man, but no accuracy on the finish. The Stimplebog now with a cucks pinch downfield. Is he going to find the pass? The demo saves away that ball, but Tyler still in front of the 6-yard box, doing it the hard way, fighting those matches, or those individual battles rather, with so much fierceness as the demos come through left, right and centre.
Yeah, it's definitely been a demo-heavy game. I feel like I've just seen smoke for 5 minutes straight. But both teams are utilising there's another one. Both teams are just utilising it so well, and it's just one of them tactics that both these teams can exploit. 15 seconds left, 2 goals. I think this will be a really big confidence boost for the Krakens going for the next game, taking it to the 1-1. Stimple's going to pop that up, good defensive action, they're stopping it down. I think they're going to, good save from Sammers there. They're going to go into that next game with their heads held high, I think, and no, Poggy nearly got the double there, and I think that could be really good for the Krakens, but I'm not putting it past Storm Shadows from coming back with a vengeance.
Definitely not. For me, I have to be honest, Stills, that sort of coming at this second game with my coach brain fully installed, that was one heck of a performance from the Krakens. And I think just those first 2 minutes, as long as they can establish that confidence for the first couple of minutes of play, make sure they don't let anything loose slip, they just work so well together. And I think, honestly, it's Tyler who did a lot of the heavy lifting for that game too in terms of the playmaking. We saw him lunging out for those demos. We saw him in the right places at the right time to make opportunities stick. And even Stimple, you know, really flashy plays, the likes of the double touches against the backboard to feed those early chances. It's all looking up here for Royal Navy Krakens, but they still need 2 more games on the docket.
Absolutely. And like I said at the start, all good demo there, right to said from the start, I want that 5-game series. I love Rocket League that much. I just want more and more of it. And these two teams are putting up an absolute show. Tyler's going to go up here. What a goal from Tyler there. Phenomenal bit of kick that.
Dylan, I don't want to call you a liar, but I think you'd prefer a 3-1. Tyler has just wiggled it past those last 2 defenders. It's superb stuff from the Navy front runner at the moment. Full wind behind the sails now as Tyler for another solo play opportunity. Is he going to find the dunk on G-Wood? He does. Feeds Stimple for the solo play chance behind. Lovely bit of control. And you can see all 3 of those defenders hunkering back for the Storm Shadows. They know the threat that can come the other end.
Absolutely. I think that this early goal was going to be an absolute seller for the Krakens as well. That's going to build their confidence. As soon as they get that confidence, they turn into a different team. That was a good shot there, good save as well. And they just get hungry, the more goals they score, and that's exactly what they need. Also, he's going to pop that into the middle there. Good control from action. They're going to take it up, take it over Tyler. Poggy comes in there just to take up the wall. I'm having so much fun watching this series, man. It's too. I sometimes just wish. Oh, goal from Poggy there. I think that was just unfortunate from the Storm Shadows defender there, popping that back in there.
Were you going to say, I just wish there was a second goal? Because it's happened. And if it wasn't on your mind, well, I think they've given you something to think about. RN Krakens, 2 goals to the good now.
That's exactly what they're wanting as well. And knowing these Storm Shadows guys and playing them multiple times, I know their heads aren't going to go down. They're going to be slowing down, working that communication, seeing what they can do to kind of get past this. But like we said, it's a best of 5, so anything can happen.
Oh,
go there.
My goodness.
I think I need to stop talking.
Goodness. No, keep it going. Keep it going, mate. You're doing great.
Every time I get into a flow, Tyler just puts something in that net and just stops in my tracks. Cause I'm thinking, wow, I wish I could do that.
Right. I don't know what has happened to this Royal Navy roster, but there is just something alight in them. It's an inspired performance at the moment as Stimplebog cuts that ball in field. And perhaps we could see a bit of history in the making. Of course, the RAF Museum in London on the 27th of September is that target destination. It's the place you want to be if you're in these teams' shoes. But it could be a case that they get there with comfortability if they keep playing like this, Dylan.
Absolutely. I think still got another 2 sets of qualifiers and events left. I think they're just going to keep building on that confidence, that ability, and I think it's just going to good hit from there. It's probably not going to get a nice. You can build that confidence going into that event. I think that's going to be an absolute phenomenal time. But these BFBS main events, man, what a time to be alive. 4,000 years I've lived, and I've managed to live in the same time as BFBS Pro League. You can't ask for anything else.
Of course, the BFBS esports team has only existed for the better part of, well, coming up to 2 years, I believe now. But it's a little bit of a distance away, maybe 1.5, but Dylan, of course, with your infinite wisdom from 2,000 years of existence, maybe you thought that this game was exactly as it seems to be at the moment. Domination from the Krakens, 4-0. Pack your bag, Storm Shadows. Might as well go home.
4-0, I think. If I was the Storm Shadows, I think that the saxophones would be getting louder and louder. But they picked up that 4-0, like 2 minutes 16. Like, I've definitely had more goals in that scored against me in less than that time, so I'm not putting it past these guys. They're all phenomenal players. Krakens are just enjoying this, they're enjoying every minute. I bet they'll be in the comms, having an absolute blast. but these Storm Shadows teams, there's still many games to go in this series.
Definitely so, but well, Royal Navy Krakens have cemented this game too, dare I say. There is so little time to work with now, and even if we start to see the floodgates open a little on the defence, Krakens at the moment, you can imagine that they're just going to be hungry for more. You reference them as quite a cool, calm and collected team, but it's very hard to hide the excitement when you've got a game score like this in your favour.
Absolutely. They'll be lavish it, but they won't be looking past this team. They'll know if they take this game, there's still at least another one game to get past. No one takes any team under the Storm Shadows lightly, because you know exactly what they can do, and they can do it any minute. And Poggy's going to get a little figure that's going to pop that over. And they get that back to the defence. I think the Krakens are just going to keep going. They're going to keep playing very aggressive, and I think they're just going to go into this next game just full of confidence, full of ability, and just ready to go.
Definitely so. Action PB over to the backboard, still can't wiggle his way past two, yet three defenders as Tyler sifts the ball infield now. It's a bump on the back lines from Tyler, which has caused another bump between the two defenders. Action PB wide of his mark, and at the moment Storm Shadows just in need of a confidence boost, a consolation goal at this point as G-Wood over to the backboard. Another ball in field, posed in front of the blue net, and I'm starting to see a little bit more of a struggle. But the finishing touch is also important, and Storm Shadows, I've not really seen too much from them in that department.
Nah, I'd say it's really... Oh, got another goal there. G-Wood picking that one. Exactly what you said. I think that's going to be a big confidence boost, especially going to this next game. They needed that goal. They needed to prove themselves that they can get past them, and I think that's exactly what that's done. And it was a good goal from G-Wood there.
Well placed as well, and he's caught the defender completely and utterly flat-footed. But he's going to unstuck himself for this kickoff and reposition himself for this next 30 seconds. Stimple Bog beaten with a low 50-50. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but we have gone from a situation which is nigh on impossible to make the most of if you're a Storm Shadows fan, to one that could go their way.
Absolutely. They've just been absolutely... They've been properly still going for it, which is exactly what you want. These two goals are going to be a big confidence boost. I think they're going to keep going for that attack. 15 seconds. I think if they can get a goal now, then it's thingy, but it looks like they're going to clear that. Sammy's going to pop that to the left, take it, get this last second goal, he's going to pop that to the right. Good defense from Smith there. I think they're just going to kill the game here, I think, and then go into this third game. What do you think Storm Shadows' tactics will be in this next game, and what do you think we're talking about?
Oh, I mean, it's so difficult to imagine what's going on in their headspace at the moment, because RN Krakens, they had the full say in that game. And yes, Storm Shadows did put two in towards the end. Yes, they had a lot of chances off the backboard to follow through from. But ultimately, it was that finishing touch, that following second man, that following third man was never really in the right place at the right time to lace a shot towards net and just make that keeper work. That's the real issue for me. And I think for Storm Shadows, they're playing a bit too defensively. I think at the moment, whenever we see them in defence, it's three orange cars deep-rooted in their net. And we do liken them to quite a defensively minded roster with the likes of Sammers providing so much of that structure. But mate, RN Krakens, they are dictating the pace here. Storm Shadows, they need to be the ones to disrupt.
Absolutely. I think they're going to come to this next game. They're going to be ready to go, ready to battle, and I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic battle. RAF, RN, every time they play, you know it's going to be a fantastic battle, and they just always want to get that one up in each other. The Krakens, they're looking good. All three players are playing, they're gelling well. They're getting that, like you said, getting that second third man, the backboard balls, getting that second man up. Tyler's just doing stuff I can't even describe.
And I think they've left us all in a bit of shock here in the commentary booth. And behind the scenes, I'm sure tensions brewing in the background as the RAF's top team from the first main event is looking beaten up here. Could just be one game that separates the Krakens from moving forward to those semi-finals as the ball drops down. Well, Poggy is going to have to come up with a massive clearance here as G-Wood pushes his agenda. Lovely 50 off the corner, and that one's going to drop down in the face of net. Sammez to provide a little bit of a twist in the tail.
like I say, that's that. They've came in, they've saw that goal. Samez, I like to describe Samez as a wall with wings because he's solid at the back, but that guy can fly.
I find it so hard to imagine, but it is the perfect anecdote, really, isn't it? A wall with wings. You know what? I'm gonna have to make that a thing from now. But Action PB is gonna squeeze it in that near post, top corner, top shelf. Second time of asking, second goal on the board. RAF Storm Shadows, they're here to play.
Definitely, they've came out. I think they've had a little team talk at the end of that last game, and they've kind of figured out what they need to do. 2 goals in 35 seconds. Can't really ask for much, and I think they're just going to keep on that offensive. That gives them a little bit of leeway. Hopefully, kind of pushing them up the field a little bit. But Krakens, you never know when one of them's going to pop out.
Nice bump on the backboard as well. It's going to be a third for Action. He's never missing a layup that fine. And we saw that first game just run away from the Krakens. We saw almost the exact same situation where that first minute of play, those first couple of minutes of play, were causing real issues. Maybe history repeating itself.
Yeah, let's say it happened in the first. Oh, good shot from Stimple there, good save. Demo from Tyler pops it bottom left. That's going to give him a little bit of a lifeline. Going to give him a little bit of confidence boost. Stimple goes up for that there, pops it up, and the Tyler just gets straight through to put that bottom left. Through the smoke again, they love the smoke.
Oh, I mean, look at Tyler. Like, completely all eyes on the player in front of him. Clear him away, get the demo before you even think about the shot. And full credit to him, he's come away with a goal. G-Wood now to the opposite side. Samez trying to pounce down on that blue net. Tyler, though, is going to squeak it on target as well. Pressure on this orange side of the field is the name of the game for the Royal Navy Krakens, as they have been able to bite back a little bit quicker than they did in this very circumstance in game 1.
Absolutely, and Stimple's going to take that ball up, it's going to pop back. Looks like that Krakens are back on the defence. Good demo there. Action's going to get this second ball. Poggy there just to kind of bounce that up the wall. So pop that up, leaving it for Tyler. Tyler's going to stay down. G-Wood's going to smash it out to the left. The Krakens, they're 2 down, but they're still going for it. They're still hungry.
So Poggy's actually going to go up for this ball as well, and it's dangerous, isn't it? But he's beaten 2 of his men with a single touch. Tyler now in front of net, goes for the backboard, a selfless play over to Stimple, who's found the top shelf, and it's such a remarkable bit of play. Tyler easily could have ripped the shot first time, chose against it, played the long game, and they have so much time to work with here.
Absolutely. For 5 goals in less than 2 minutes, like, you can't ask for a much better Rocket League than that. Some of the most entertaining. It's going to drop there for Poggy. Good defense off the corner. They're dropping it back in the middle. They're going to get the shot. The crossbar on the post are getting absolute belting this series, aren't they? Absolute belting.
Oh, need you ask for anything more if you're a Royal Navy Kraken supporter, as that really should have been 4. Storm Shadows, they missed their opportunity, and Tyler, still ever present downfield, just trying to make them sweat. Action loses control of that ball, opts to let Samez into the play, and it's going to drop down in front of their own net. Now here comes G-Wood, who's been very quiet, I must say, in this series, to get rid of that ball.
Absolutely. Samez's going to pop this just in there. Looks like Stimple's going to take that down, can control it. Good offense from Poggy's going to take this up. Go for the flick up. Looks like he's getting bumped. G-Wood just didn't like him for 10 seconds there. Action's going to pop that back up. Good defense. So Stimple's going to be there though. He's going to pop that up. Crossbar. Hit the crossbar, man. We need to get rid of that.
Really should, but I mean, if you want to get rid of the crossbar, I think in your ideal world, Dilsey, you'd only do it on one side of the pitch. Otherwise, it would be 4 or 5 goals to the Storm Shadows at this point, as that ball is going to be touched beautifully by Tyler. A silky redirect downfield and a chance now. Where is that third man? Stimplebog down in front of net, but Tyler's pre-jumped. He's gone too early. Poggy, the last man standing, still able to clear.
I just know Tyler will be absolutely raging with that there. But we've still got 1 minute 29, 1 goal in it. Like we saw Storm Shadows get 2 goals in 25 seconds last game. It can still go either way. I'm actually gobsmacked how much I'm enjoying this series. Both teams have been absolutely phenomenal. It's like watching RLCS.
Honestly, at these times, these players are definitely of the ability to keep up with the highest sort of level gameplay you can imagine. Of course, a lot of these players pushing high GC3 themselves. But forget what you've dropped down on paper, because it's all played out on the pitch. Stimplebog, with not a simple setup, has found himself a punishing third.
Nah, Uncle Stimp taking charge of that goal line there, bringing that to 3-3 1 minute. This could go either way. We could even see some OT. Like I said, as much as I want that Kraken's win, I'd still like to see that game 5. I'm all about the content, you know me, Psycho.
Full credit to you, Delza. It could look... Oh, I don't want to call it too early, but we could be on our way for an OT, but Stimple needs to clear the way. Tyler, no contact found. And it's a simple counter-attack, but Action has done so well. And look at that touch coming off the post from G-Wood to set up his teammate as well. After what was an open goal miss. The Storm Shadows, they've still got it in them.
Absolutely, like you see there, they got the 3 goals and they kind of paused for a minute, but they've just took that back. Big goal with 32 seconds left. I think Boy's going to take us down. That's a good demo there. I think the Kraken just have to go all out here. They just have to get that extra goal, take that to 4-4, get that all time, recharge. Ooh, good save from Stimple there. Sammy's going to pop that off the side.
Oh, it's looking dangerous though. That's a third, fourth, fifth. I'm losing count of the goals at this point, Dylan. It's 8 on the board now.
It's a lot of goals in 5 minutes, isn't it? I'm used to just 8 goals getting put against me, not across both teams, you know what I mean? But 15 seconds, 2 goals. I know Uncle Stimp can pull something out the bag here.
Tyler, that's on target! Was that a kick-off strategy? Was that a near open net? Was that a fumble from the Storm Shadows? We're going to look back. It's actually a kill kick-off central. And Tyler with the close cheek. It's all rehearsed from the Krakens. Do they have another in the playbook?
I know that they'll be feeling it. They'll be shaking. They'll probably sweat as much as me. I must be sitting in a sauna right now. But I know they'll be even worse getting ready for this game. Paul's going to take this up. He's going to go for the backboard here. He's going to drop that down. Oh, nearly.
Oh, Tyler's going to push it infield. Where is that follow? There's no touch found. And the ball drops down. Storm Shadows level the playing field in what you have rightfully said has been a gobsmacking series so far. The Royal Navy Krakens, they're giving me a little bit of a heart attack. But we cannot underestimate the Storm Shadows. Those first 2 minutes were perfection yet again. And we often see the case, you know, where 2 evenly matched up teams on paper, it can be a bit of a landslide early on and you're thinking, well, is that repeatable? Can you translate that performance again? The Storm Shadows, they prove it time and time again that they can. Game 5 here in the lower round of 6 en route to the semi-finals, Dylan.
It's a big game, lower round. Everyone loves a lower round run, you know what I mean? I think both these teams, they've had good games, they've had bad games, they've had amazing goals, they've had bad goals. I think they're both going to be, I don't know if they're going to be happy or they're going to be sweating and getting ready to go, but I'm excited for this game 5 and let's get this kickoff going.
You asked for it, and here it is. It's funny how reality materialises when you put your mind to something. Right now, Krakens, I'm sure, envisioning themselves in the semi-finals, courtesy of this performance early on as Action PB pushes the ball forwards downfield. Isn't going to threat the defence, though, as Poggy now choosing his time in the spotlight.
Yeah, but Poggy, he's normally quite a loud player, but he's been quite quiet. It's kind of been the Stimp and Tyler show, but he's definitely had little moments of limelight, and I'm not excited to see what he's going to do with this game. But looks like Tyler's going to take this up, he's going to take that over Simmons, he's going to drop that in. Oh, good defence there.
There's a solid effort on the air dribble to just stretch the defence thin, and I love those controlled plays coming through from the Krakens because it keeps the defence waiting and waiting and waiting, and by the time they choose their time to challenge, that air dribble may already be soaring over your head. And it's a play style that I don't see much in the UCAF Rocket League space. I must be honest with you, Dylan. It's all hit the ball hard, strike it long, and just pick your moments to stretch that defence thin. There's a shot from G-Wood, and it's 1 goal to the Storm Shadows.
What a goal. That was like straight as anything, absolute power there. that's the thing with the Krakens is they take that goal, that 2 goals down, and I think that the confidence drops a little bit. But I'm not going to put them past them, which I think the Storm Shadow is going to kind of come out for a good shot there.
What? Where has that come from? What has unfolded in the Storm Shadows' defence?
Poggy must have heard me throwing a little bit of shade because he's been like, watch this, Dillzon, smash that in.
You talked about G-Wood's shot being a ripper. I think that was like 112. That one was 136. So if there was any doubt about that ball going in, you can wipe that doubt away. Royal Navy Krakens here to play as always as Tyler. Now towards the side. Stimple's looking uncomfortable and can only push it infield in front of his own net. It's a loose 50-50 spilling towards the corner. Look how deep the Storm Shadows are in their own back third. They're on attack at the moment. Make that defence in an instant, and they need to start flooding numbers downfield.
Absolutely. I think out of the two teams, I think Storm Shadow have been a little bit more defensive, but when they've been up, they've been doing the business. I think the Krakens and the Storm Shadows are both going to go all out for this game. This is lower rounds, you know what I mean? They both want that lower kind of, that higher, I can't speak apparently, that lower bracket run. They're both going to be going for that. I think Stimple's going to pop the unlucky with no boost there, unfortunately, though.
Don't worry, I couldn't count earlier. I struggled with those numbers. 8 goals in the last game. It's been a lot quieter this time around. It's 1 apiece now as Poggy stretched thin with that touch towards the corner. It's a heavy 50 and Tyler's come away with the ball. Somehow through the smoke once again as a demo chance from Stimple. No contact found, and just look at the patience from the Krakens. They're learning that this game is one that needs to be played with a bit of temper about you.
Also, it was a good bump from Poggy there. He was going to pop this back into play. Kyle's going to pop back to the left and try and catch that. Good from action there, putting it back in the middle. Good shot from Stimple there, putting it up to play. Sam is up there, full boost with that shot. It was a good shot there, Poggy popping that back to the left. Action's going to pop this back into play for the Storm Shadows. There we go, Action dropping that by in the bottom right corner. Left corner.
It's a difficult ball to deal with, isn't it? Straight down off the ceiling. And the waterfall that Pegasus was alluding to as being a challenge to deal with has come to haunt the Krakens. And it's just such a difference in Game 3 from Storm Shadows. We're starting to see real aggression in the latter half of this game as Sam is with the pre-jump up top. Stimple Bog needs to make a last-minute save. It is just about touched away as Poggy now needs a big clearance and finds it. Look at all the space that G-Wood has to work with, but it could be a bit scary.
The Tyler's going to come off the wall and pop that back in. I don't even know what way this game's going to go. Storm Shadow's looking absolutely phenomenal, like you said, with that offense. Pure attacking, which we really like to see. Kraken's been kind of held in the box a little bit, but he's going to put one in overtime, going to pop that back. Action, little back flip there. G-Wood's going to put that up there. Put.
Our producer behind the scenes is egging on a potential OT. And I think it's too early to call that at the moment as Royal Navy Krakens, dare I say, have struggled to enter orange territory in quite some time as now Tyler towards the corner drops down, no contact found. It's looking sketchy for the Storm Shadows, but they're holding on.
1 minute to play, G-Wood's going to drive straight in there. Tyler's going to take that ball, Stimple's going to pop that back. Like I said, they're kind of going in their box a little bit, the Krakens, but they're pushing out momentarily to try and pop this in. If you're Storm Shadows, you just got to hold that line at the moment. You've got to be like Hodor holding that door, make sure nothing gets through.
Maybe it's going to be just one open opportunity that could give Royal Navy Krakens a bit of energy here. Stimple Bog with a big clearance. Tyler downfield for the redirect. Laces it towards the top corner, but it's just touched away by Action. There's now the 50-50 in favour of Storm Shadows. Here comes Samez. Finds Action on the right, but the demo chase for is going to leave Krakens a bit of breathing room. But that's 2 blue players gone. Another shot towards target in just 10 seconds left. Captain Stimple, can he work some magic? He goes underneath Tyler now to the backboard, and Poggy with a shot saved away by a player in blue. And that ball's going to drop. It's done. It's dusted. And it's heartbreak. And dare I say, that ball was heading in from Poggy. And I don't want to say it's a bit of self-sabotage because they wanted out of that play. They tried to flip away. And I do think the defense may have had it covered, Dylan. And that is a heartbreaking way to lose a series, but ultimately an incredible, incredible performance by the same coin.
Absolutely, they can't have their heads down after that performance. I thought we were going to get some Argentina World Cup magic there, kind of last 5-minute winners. But unfortunately, like you said, just missing that goal. But I know their heads won't be down. They've had an absolute phenomenal show this whole qualifier round, essentially. And I think they're going to They're going to take this on the best they can and think, right, let's make sure this doesn't happen next time. And like you said, all players, both teams, did absolutely phenomenal. And I think it was just absolutely great series to watch, and even better one to commentate.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we got what you asked for. It was game 5, and it came down to a 1-goal difference. And, well, Jonah in the background, I'm sure, well, I'm not sure. I heard some of the exclamations coming from you during that series. What did you make of all that?
No, what just happened, man? Come on. That's got to be the best game we've seen all season. Like, there is no doubt about it. I was literally sat here. I've run out of fingernails. Honestly, I was like, there's no way these guys are still going. It was non-stop. What a performance from both teams. I am absolutely gobsmacked. Right, but gents, what? How do you summarize that? How do you summarize that?
I don't know where to start, to be honest with you, but one thing is for sure, and that's when the Storm Shadows start again. They start hot, right? And I do think it was those early landslides, those 3-goal deficits in the first couple of minutes between game 1 and game 4 that really was a thorn in the Kraken's side. And throughout all of that, they battled back and they battled hard. But unfortunately, it was those little slip-ups early on that I think cost them here, Jonah.
I've got nothing else. Well, we're all speechless, and I hope you're as speechless as we are. We're going to go and see what has happened in the other games. I guarantee you they've not been as close as that one. Just as a meme sent by our social media manager to appear on screen very soon. But yes, we will see you after a short break when we see what's happened in the other few matches.
Good enough can cost you the game. So stop settling. Wifinity is built for real life on base, so you can game without compromise. Posted somewhere new? Take your Wi-Fi with you, no hassle. Get fast, reliable Wi-Fi with Wifinity. Use code BFBS50 to get 50% off the first 3 months. Out here, every millisecond counts. And in here, every millisecond counts too. Never let delays ruin the action. Upgrade your Wi-Fi to Wi-Finity. Use code BFBS50 to get 50% off your first 3 months.
Hello, we're back. Shout out to Wi-Finity. Thank you very much for sponsoring this stream and all the other streams you've seen over the course of Pro League Season 2. As you know, finally picked up our first sponsor. Woo! So you can use code BSBS50 if you're on any of the UK camps with Wi-Finity available and get 50% off your first 6 months. But nonetheless, enough about Wi-Finity. We're back. Finally. So Pegasus, thoughts, feelings, and concerns, sir, for what you've just witnessed?
I don't even know how to fully assess that last series. It felt like game after game we were seeing people rise up, and then it became who was going to crack first. Then it got to the 5th game. Then it looked like it was going to be an OT, and then, as Psycho said off air, he doesn't want to talk about particularly how that series ended. But every single game we have seen so far has been an absolute banger in this second open. So away from the concerns, long may that continue.
Absolutely. And the meme I was talking about earlier, my reaction to what happened looks a little bit more like this. So shout out to Lena, our wonderful social media manager, for that one. But nonetheless, that was my reaction to what we just saw. And if you didn't see what just happened, then make sure you go back to the VOD on either Twitch or YouTube, which you can catch just after we wrap up stream here a little bit later on. But nonetheless, Psycho, the bracket continues, and I was wrong. The other game was a little bit closer than we first suspected.
It certainly was. I mean, if we just, I'm not sure if we can throw up the brackets, but if we cast our eyes to it, we have Royal Navy Krakens and Storm Shadows 3-2. That was the spectacle and the heartbreak for Dilza that we saw in the lower round of 6. But on the other end of things, another close matchup between the British Army Esports Falcons, the second team of the British Army, and the Royal Air Force Typhoons, arguably their top dogs to beat. And they have fought through this bracket tooth and nail. They had a game chipped off of them in the lower round of 8 by the Kestrels, fought their way through the Falcons. And if we even cast our eyes back to Swiss, they were playing on shared mobile data between 2 of them while Cedric laid on a bed. So, I mean, they have made it through the toughest of circumstances, and look where they are now.
Cedric always full of surprises, it might seem.
Yeah, for sure.
Fails to put us in a funny mood. But so Pegasus, anything, a surprise there for you, or was that what you were expecting from the other two?
I always felt like there was the potential that they could go all the way here to the semi-finals. I mean, you've got the SEA Dragons and the Buzzards still split to either semi-finals. If we're looking at the Storm Shadows, this is the exact same matchup we saw on that side of the semi-finals during Open 1 as well. But what I find most interesting so far about this bracket is it is all up to the RAF to shake up that grand finals. Of course, we've got the Buzzards as our most recent champion and the SCA Dragons as that finalist on the other side.
Absolutely. And of course, the Buzzards have the one, the only Bluey on their roster. Psycho, do you think that Bluey's made a larger impact to the other 2 players on the Buzzards roster?
I definitely think so, and I think it's unavoidable, the influence of a professional player as soon as they enter the field with any team. It doesn't matter if you're with absolute beginners or absolute professionals. You just have that sort of influence, and you command the pitch, you command the direction of the team, and of course, you're going to have oodles of respect towards you. And if anything, the only sort of trip up that can come in an environment like that is sort of the pressure of expectations. If you're a teammate of someone with his quality. But let's be completely frank. The two players for Buzzers alongside him, Ruck and Onza, are both incredible, incredible talents. And I think even with Bluey out of the picture, they would be fighting for semi-finals. They would be fighting for finals. There is no question about it.
And Onza being a member of the British Armed Forces esports community for as long as I can remember and as long as I've been around, which right now I feel Unk status being put above my head. But we've been around a long time, and I know that Onza has strived to sort of improve everyone around him. Obviously, he was going into the coaching role. Eamon's going into the coaching role anyway at the start of this year. But the addition of Bluey has clearly swindled that just a little bit. So, Piggers, any thoughts on it?
I do think, again, like Psycho alluded to, just the inclusion of a pro player is always going to make a big difference. That is going to rub off on you as a teammate if you are a good enough professional in of itself in the mental department as opposed to the pitch. That should boost up the roster. It certainly has done so far, but for our upcoming matchup, I mean, I'm looking at the SEA Dragons, who were finalists last time, and of course include some experienced players in the BFBS scene after that first season. There is a real chance for the top to be shaken up, as long as they can get past the very hungry Typhoons.
Well, I believe the players are about ready. I will throw over now to Psycho and Sir Pegasus to take you in and through this match.
Well, thank you very much, Jonah. This is another matchup which is seriously going to, I don't know, maybe make people question just how tight the league really is. We've just come off the back of course, the Royal Navy Storm Shadows. Well, it's the Royal Navy Storm Shadows, the Royal Navy Krakens versus the RAF Storm Shadows. This matchup on paper has a favourite, the SEA Dragons, through and through. How big of a chance do you think Typhoons really have here?
For me, this is really tough to call because the Typhoons didn't even get to this point last time during Open 1, but it definitely feels like there is a bit of a fire in their belly. The fact that they had to start off in that lower bracket, we talk about how Stelios had to play in the Swiss stage, but his impact can still be felt on this roster in the here and the now with the three best players that they've got to offer with him sitting in that coach position. But then on that opposite side, you have got the resurgence of Lion and Ritzy, and of course the emerging of Mr. Spud 777, who's going to watch this one fall right in the back of his net. It's the familiar Envy to get us started.
First blood drawn by the ex-Storm Shadows, the now Typhoons. And we saw a similar sort of rivalry emerge in the last BFBS Pro League season. Of course, Resurgence versus Storm Shadows was one of the matchups on everyone's mind. We probably would have thought that back then Resurgence could have had them picked, but first goals, well, that's to the side of Typhoons.
More than just the first goal, the first real run of momentum as well ever since that goal. Plenty of time already been spent in that SEA Dragons half. Cedric tried to lay this one off to Pierce. A shot from deep. Mr. Spud looks slightly out of position, but a shot just rattles off that post. That's another warning sent to the SEA.
Nice touch from Cedric as he finds his way over to Pierce, who's going to try and push the ball towards the infield. Ritzy now has a big counter-attack chance, but wastes that ball. Couldn't find any crucial connection towards a teammate or towards the back of that net.
Ritzy trying to create the first real opportunity for the SEA Dragons. So Cedric with boost of a tank has enough to hold it down in the corner. Lionbow has Ritzy at that far post. And what on earth was he doing there in the first place? Regardless, it's a heads-up 50 that has paid dividends for the Dragons.
It's just a quick phone call over to Ritzy. Hey, mate, can you pick up this? But yep, goal. Done. End call. That's 1-1.
Didn't even get to the second toe. Cedric. Oh, that's a bit messy in the front post already. That's twice in a row, one side each. Having that first goal conceded and making it look like immediately they were going to concede right afterwards. That might just be the pressure instilled here in the semi-finals. Lion forces his way through. It was a bit of a bunch up on that sidewall. They look a little bit shaken to the RAF.
Right now, SEA Dragons dialing up the pace slightly, but Pierce does have an open chance, albeit with no boost to work with. Envy to filter through, tries to get the shot off, but Mr. Spud blocks that ball away. Infield pass, it comes down to Lion, who beats two, as Pierce struggles to make that back for the touch.
Well, we expected this to be a very high-level affair. It's been more chaotic. Both teams definitely have been pressured to a pop in this first game. Ritzy manages to skip past Envy. Cedric gets a touch back towards the corner, but now refueled. Pierce has to avoid that first bump. But back on the rotate, Spud is still there with a second and third, still as an option. Well, however much power is going to be found on that ball, Envy eventually gets that clearance out, and Pierce on a redirect gets that intercept. It is a brief moment of calm, now with panic from the miss of Envy.
Oh, it's still okay, though, as long as Envy can get back to this ball. It's dropped down by Lion! That might just be the greatest pass I have seen all of this tournament long. Double touch, drop down in front of the goal mouth. Cherry picks the opportunity, straight on over to Spud.
It was from a murmur to a roar. What an assist from Lion. It's the second he's picked up of this game. And it looks like more will be required. I've got downs. That 3 goals is going to be the end. There's your fourth. As soon as you call for it, it's Ritzy off the back of the heavy touch of Envy and a perfectly placed pass from Spud.
The pressure was seriously growing in the last 60 seconds or so, but it's gone from just, a little bit of teething issues to a full-on hydraulic press. And now, unfortunately, the RF Typhoons have to play it out from the back, and hopefully they can withstand some of the little early cracks that have slipped on through. Get past them nice and quickly here.
Poor Ritzy. It's up confidently for that one. Let's get a solid enough 50-50, but still, the team has continued to take it forward. A bump attempted on Pierce, opens up for space, but no shot at that front post vote. Ritzy did manage to get on the end of a rebound to complete his hat-trick and continue what has been a rather one-sided affair out of the blue.
Extremely routine at high-level play. Spud picks the ball into the corner, immediately changed targets, went for the bump on the front post, and found it. All of that open space opened up from one single player's bit of brilliance as Ritzy now downfield back towards Spud as the flick comes on through towards the backboard, and that is going to be a 5th goal for Lion. And it's not even as if I'm sat here thinking, what is going wrong for the Storm Shadows? The SEA Dragons in a league of their own.
I was going to say the same, just a level ahead so far in this game. And Typhoons are struggling to even get a real foot on the ball. The SEA Dragons are so good at recognizing any space they have, all of those small gaps in the pitch, and if you do leave them a crack, it's like water, they'll still find their way to seep through. Oh my goodness. Speaking of, that's liquid.
It's liquid confidence as well, isn't it, from SEA Dragons? I doubt they're going to be playing with any of that, as Envy's going to drop it down off the top ropes. Find a pinch towards the infield. Ritzy now pushes the ball straight towards Orange territory, and at the moment, Storm Shadows are just going to be really playing with fire at the moment, but they're going to want a fire started in their own confidence.
SEA Dragons in the corner. Attempts to extinguish any flames that the Typhoons are trying to start. Any flames I see come from that demo off the back of the Dragons on a Typhoons defender, just helping slow down any potential counter-attacking opportunities. Cedric oftentimes is the player to ramp up the speed, however, low boost with his own back wall with players already challenging. It's not going to help him find that passage of escape. Ritzy positions well, and look how confident the first touch is. The second is even better.
It's a landslide, isn't it? And it's a landslide occasion for the SEA Dragons to make their mark. And they're going to be feeling rather sore after last week. Let's not forget that show-stopping grand finals against the Buzzards that just didn't quite go their way. It was 3-2 on the other end. But at the moment, they're already chasing a finals.
Surprised to see this one find the back of the net with Ritzy there on the goal line. Either way, for now, that does feel just like consolation. 20 seconds, 3 goals required. There's a lot to call for against a team that feels like, frankly, it's playing a whole rank ahead. Lion from his own defense keeps this ball moving forward. Just a bit of energy needs to be found on the Typhoon side. They've tried to pick it up in the final 45 seconds. It is the right choice to make. It is the correct step forward, but already it feels like Dragons are off towards the horizons.
Absolutely so, and let's not forget the SEA Dragons individually are really competing at the highest levels. Of course, all three players managing to almost breach the gates of 2,000 MMR in their own individual play, and of course that is leagues above what is being offered by the Typhoons. Envy himself has managed to get to, I believe, 2.1 individually himself. The other two lagging a little bit further behind. But ultimately, it's the team chemistry from the SEA Dragons, which is seriously working for them right now.
And you would expect that, wouldn't you, from the likes of Ritzy and Lime, with the amount of time they have played alongside each other. It is actually one of the more seasoned duos over here in the BFBS after that first season. But then you look at that third man on the roster, Mr. Spud 777, a Welshman. Looks like he's been a part of this trio for years.
He does, and he enters the field with just so much confidence in his own abilities. And every time you see him on the ball, this is the product.
Yeah, positions well, of course, is more assisted by that miss on the back wall as well from the Typhoons. And when you spoke about the confidence building for the Typhoons in that final 45 seconds, the first goal conceded is certainly not going to have the greatest effect. Cedric for the 50 has Envy coming up fast. It's a big attack for them to start off with, certainly getting themselves off to a better start than we did in the game before. Cedric can't get this one under Mr. Spud. Envy keeps it close at that near post. Envy manages to catch the rotation in time as well. Already I'm seeing a lot more pace than we ended with. Absolutely,
and there's good chances, but I think it's just being overcomplicated slightly by the Storm Shadows when they get these opportunities. Here comes the double! Top right from Lion.
You spoke about overcomplication on the side of Typhoons. There's no such thing for the mighty Dragons. Doubled their score. Confidence shattered. This is truly a fire-breathing unit.
Oh, they've got smoke and mirrors to work their way downfield too. RAF Typhoons simply caught up in the mist and the fog of what has been the first minute of play to forget.
Yeah, Typhoons, not exactly King George there. Not slaying the SEA anytime soon. It's the second game, just as convincing as we saw before. We're seeing glimmers of hope on the opposite side. But whilst one team has glimmers, the other has just a blinding shine to them. Ritzy from the off angle somehow gets that second touch. Pile drives his way through an extra player. Envy is going to be delayed for having any teammates. That bump is still not enough because Ritzy's timing is immaculate.
That ball in favour of Spud. Envy has managed to clear that ball away with Pierce in hot pursuit. Maybe they can forge a chance towards the infield, but it's blocked away, and Ritzy, with so much spacing between him downfield and his players behind, able to transition extremely quickly.
Great control from Ritzy here at the corner. Knows he's going to be challenged initially. Got that first pop. It's a very low boost built up offense coming from the Typhoons. And they've already struggled, and they have had those full tanks. In fact, it's been these counter-attacks more from the Dragons that have looked more menacing. Here's one from Spud. Can't drill that one underneath the defender. Instead, Pierce is in a great spot, but Lion somehow improves his own.
It's a side flip from Envy, isn't it? Maybe caught up on that front post. He's come round from that boost, and you can just see the tempo a little too fast, and I can also see some red flashy symbols. Maybe Typhoon's really going through it at the moment.
That wasn't just a force in the corner either from Lion. That was a pure ego challenge, and he has definitely earned the right to have that with how he has played in this series. As demos all across the pitch, it's Spud trying to take it over the line. It's still falling into that danger area. It goes out wide for Lion. Now it's Pierce. Not able to find MV. That felt like an opportunity wasted, but still with a full tank of boost. There's more to make out of it, but Spud has been given too much time to recover himself.
On Hefty cleared downfield from Lion, and look at the support he's got infield from Ritzy behind. There comes a double commit, but in favour of Spud, the recipient of chaos in the middle. Could not find that ball towards target. There's 2 orange players downfield, and it's all chuck all your eggs in one basket and see what happens. Well, there is the result. Cracks emerge. Typhoons with a burst.
Yeah, it's a good goal to pick up here as well. Well made by Cedric. Just delaying that flick, keeping it low, playing fully for that 50. And that makes a very simple game plan as well for his second man. Just to hold his run, get himself into a good spot. The shot should be easier than the setup. They're going to need, though, a lot more than just that first goal. A lot more than just this game as well. This is more than just a flash required to blind the Dragons.
Not sure what's going to stop them at the moment, and as much as I hate to be the pessimist, I really can't see a way that SEA Dragons let loose of their advantage here in game 2, as Lion now is going to find Ritzy in field, selflessly gives that ball away, and look at the speed into the play from Spud.
Every single time, though, and that's how they scored that last goal, that challenge in the corner coming from Lion. They're just constantly caught out, surprise, passing plays happen, but this time there's 2 players waiting on the goal line. They can sit deep, they can sit aggressive, reactionary. It doesn't matter what you throw towards them. It feels like they always have a professional response against the Typhoons, and it all feels so pre-calculated.
Absolutely, and I think it goes full credit to the work done behind the scenes by this SEA team, as I'm aware they've been scrimming, practicing, working hard amongst their substitutes, coaches and the likes to up their performance through time. And of course, this is a very young roster in the grand scheme of things, and potentially we're not even seeing what they're capable of at the highest of highs just yet. That's a wonderful drop down, I have to say, though. Rivaling maybe Lion's path from earlier. A pop-up high from Cedric. Look at Pierce. He's on the backboard.
Well, you've got to throw everything at them. Use every single body at your disposal. All verticality, all trickery. They've beaten them at their own game.
Here comes a third chance, but it's a weak, soft touch from Pierce, and he's going to need the troops in behind as Cedric is going to let that ball go. Spud with 0 boost, still able to make that crucial touch, and that is game done and dusted. And I think RAF Storm Shadows were just starting to find the flow state and find themselves in that position where we know they can be so dangerous, Pig.
I'm going to throw a question your way now, Psycho. Has your mind changed? We were talking with 2 minutes left on the clock saying we don't see this turning at all for the Typhoons. And it was almost as if they're listening to the stream. They immediately ramped up their performances. They grabbed up those 2 goals on the trot. Of course, they played a very offensive game at the end. There is that balance, of course, of Dragons knowing that game as well. But is it doable to you?
You've put me in a predicament here. My heart says yes. The Typhoons, they've always got an extra gear to shift into. But right here, right now, SEA Dragons are unfathomably good. And that is the reality of the world we live in. I think it could easily go their way. It could be a 3rd game and done just as quickly as that, Pegasus. But Typhoons, we've seen the solo play potential. We've seen the team working come through, especially with the likes of those last 2 goals. Can they bring it all together?
This has to be the performance to turn some heads. That isn't an opinion, that's a fact. It's a match point grand final points for the SEA Dragons. For the Typhoons, it's going to have to be an emphatic reverse sweep to reach that spot, but to get it started, pass from Cedric reaches Envy, and Lion already forced to make a save. As a Spud, Ritzy has to be the last one. Instead, Spud make sure to double up on that play. The Typhoons don't show any signs of letting down.
Beautifully positioned on that front post backboard by Spud to keep that goal away. He made not just one but two crucial clearances, and now they're looking for chances downfield. Envy 0 boost, and look at the support in Ed. He's going to struggle at that front post but finds a touch. They're still good for 0-0.
Pierce has got nothing in the tank, and Lion had already made his call too early, anticipating an opposite case. Ritzy and Lion will double commit for this one as well, but Ritzy takes control in that corner, leaves the boost for a teammate, has to get past Pierce. Cedric on the second. Instead, is going to be left chasing back. It's not a great first touch coming from Envy. He knew exactly what he was going for, but it's high risk at a very crucial position of the pitch. But Pierce manages to pass that one out with Cedric. They'll be wiping the sweat off their brow, and Mr. Spud didn't seem to have any himself.
In clinicality there from Lion. It was a wide open net and he chose to go for the double touch just in case the third man wrapped around. I think if he prodded it towards net, surely it would have been a first, but nonetheless the pressure still coming from the Typhoons. Ball bound into the corner and a soft low touch from Pierce to try and stretch out that defense, draw them out of that comfortability, proving what went well so much so for the Typhoons in the end of that last game is certainly repeatable.
It's gone from a bit of a pizza to a barrage from the Typhoons. They're just sending bodies forward now. That has worked well for them, but Spard with a flip reset sets up on that back wall. Ritzy can't break it through the lines. Lion was the last player called to action. No resets of their own. It was straight towards target, and you saw many leap on the goal line, but none fished out of position. We've seen pinches go all the way. That won't be one of them, but it's still in the box for Lion to pull off what I'm sure he'll be telling his teammates is a fake.
Wow, the hard work was already done, wasn't it? Mr. Spud with the bump on Pierce. And it's the tiniest of scrapes that you would barely even register as the attacker. But it's registered on the score sheets.
I thought that was a misfire on the defensive end. I didn't even notice that fine touch. That's what's going to make the difference in a physics-based game. It's all up to the very minute, unreal units. That being said, Spud has acres here in the corner. Cedric made sure to shut down that gap. It was an overcommittal second man, but Ritzy still made sure that position was not wasted.
Ritzy now needs to get a soft touch to himself, does so beautifully, finds the ball across central, and look at both orange attackers going forwards. Pierce extended too far forwards and can only chase backwards. And that's going to open up a world of joy for Spud as Cedric! No! Where have you gone?
Catastrophe in the semi-finals. We've seen players trying to score flip resets. Not like that.
When you're beaten in quality and you're 2 goals down in a series, that is the last goal that you want to be conceding, and it's going to take a mammoth fight from the Typhoons to work their way back as infield that ball goes. Envy with a nice touch forwards. Lion just so quick in response, and you can see a little bit of slipping on the dance floor from the Typhoons.
Oh, but this is right back down to Lion. Goes for the bounce shot. Envy still manages to make that save, but that clearance out is only going to find a car in blue. They return the favour with a pass down to Envy. That shot looks like it was potentially testing the net. The defence certainly thought so. They're out of position, and the Pierce will pierce his way through.
There is one spot in the goal that would have resulted in a goal, and it was right there. Pinpoint accurate from Pierce. There is still a minute left to play, but I am still flashing all the warning signals under the sun for the Typhoons as they work their way forwards. That one's on target, saved away by Ritzy, clawed away from the jaws of death from SEA Dragons.
And we have not seen the defenses tested like that so far in this series. But this is what happens when a team is brought down to its final life. Ritzy wants to get that job done. That first touch isn't going to lead to anything. Spud wants his double, has been hunting all day. Again, it's just wide of the mark.
Someone needs to carry this ball away. It's Envy to take up that large responsibility. Gets a demo for his troubles and a touch in field.
Oh.
Gonna spill. But unfortunately, nobody ready for that play to come in. Lions spikes. And it's towards the top left-hand corner, and I'm not sure how this game is just tiptoeing on that fine line time and time again. Back and forth, back and forth. Lion getting it done.
Well, if there was a team that was constantly keeping their balance on this tightrope game, there's no question it has been the much more organised and much more clinical SEA Dragons. But the Typhoons showed a lot of heart, showed a lot of potential. It's going to feel brutal to know that the docket sets 3-0 for the series scoreline. Because perhaps on a different day, with an extra week, this could have gone differently.
Definitely so, and I'm going to spoil it nice and early. On the other side of things, between the Storm Shadows and the Buzzards, the result 3-1 in favour of the British Army Esports Buzzards. So there is the fabled grand final rematch, SEA Dragons. We were mentioning just before this series began, the hunger, the drive to sort of reverse what was a performance for them arguably to forget last week, where they seemed in control, but Buzzards, they controlled the narrative, and we've got a long way to go.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that grand finals, and it's so hard to think of a team that could take down the SEA Dragons when they are playing in that kind of form. But Psycho, you were there during Open 1, and you have seen that, you know, the leaderboards currently stand in a very certain way. And of course, that is for the Buzzards with a professional player. What a match we have up ahead.
Definitely so. It's 16 points to the good for the Buzzards, 12, of course, for the SEA Dragons. So on paper, they're coming through all guns blazing on the opposite end of the bracket if the results were to go this way for the rest of the Pro League split. But Jonah, what did you make of that?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I mean, poor Cedric. I was sat there with my head in my hands thinking, I'm going to get a text in the morning. A very, very upset Cedric from that one. But nonetheless, what we expected happened. A lovely rematch between the SEA Dragons and the Buzzards. It's gonna be a close one. A very, very close one indeed. But we're gonna get right into that after this very short break. Thank you very much. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the BFBS Pro League Season 2 featuring Rocket League. It's a bit long, but we're still here and we are reaching our grand final. Our prediction is now live in the chat, so if you haven't done so already, make sure you put in your bets on who you think is going to win this grand final. It will be the British Army Esports Buzzards versus the SEA Dragons. But speaking of predictions, Psycho and Sir Pegasus, some thoughts, please. Psycho, let's start with you.
For me, I think this is a flip of a coin almost between the SE Dragons and the British Army Esports Buzzards. Of course, last week we saw them duel it out. We saw them battle it out in the grand finals in this very position for the first time. And we started to believe the SEA Dragons were running away with it. They let it arguably slip away from their fingertips last time. And it's so difficult to call, but judging off of the last game's performance alone, SEA Dragons, I think, have confidence going into this and a grudge.
Beautiful. And Sir Pegasus?
Struggling with this one. Of course, it's the repeat of the Open 1 grand finals with the Dragons and the Buzzards meeting yet again. But that performance that I just saw from the SEA is very, very hard to go against. I didn't get a chance to see as much of how they played in that first Open. They've been a bit of silent killers in the background when it comes to a mainstream perspective. But now that I have had a taste of them, and that's in a semi-final, I think the Buzzards have their work cut out for them.
A convincing performance from the SEA Dragons then, giving them a little bit of an upper hand in the eyes of our wonderful casters. But please leave your predictions in the chat. But nonetheless, I believe our players are raring and ready to go. So let's hand over to the team and let's get into it.
Well, thank you very much, Shona. You find us here in the final destination, the final theatre for dreams to manifest, and a chance for SEA Dragons to get a bit of redemption. The grand finals repeat in week 2.
A lot of rivalries over in the BFBS scene have been civil. They've been inter-services. They've been army derbies. They've been RAF showdowns. This time, it's a rivalry built upon trying to achieve that very same territory. Number 1 on the overall leaderboards. Currently, that stands towards the Buzzards' favour, but it's the Dragons' turn at the halfway points to put them onto equality, and Onza isn't looking for that.
Now in the corner, the newcomer to this British Army Esports roster. And boy, has he come into a team that needed some very, very big boots to fill. Of course, playing alongside the likes of Bluey and Onza, the historied player for this roster. And he's slotted in ever so perfectly as Bluey's not going to quite find a touch, but it's a big fake from Onza. Well read by Spud.
Yeah, they did well to make sure that double padlock was in place, and sometimes you do have to get to that final shield of defense. Lion tries to keep it close here at the corner. You see a bit of a battle for control already on the pitch. Lots of soft touches followed by all of these crashing 50s from the opposite side. This time, though, a bit too much space given to Red.
Yeah, maybe so. Lion backed away with no boost, and he could have committed. He could have threw himself into the play, but maybe had second thoughts, thinking that last man could have rotated through for a better clearance. It's a timid bit of communication early on.
Onza increases that aggression. We've already seen is that such a high play for the Buzzards. Bluey is going to feel cheated not to get that second goal. That could be one they look back on later.
Onza now dribbles in front of net, tries to force that 50-50 through. Of course, the Inter-Services 1v1 champion from last year in Envy. Not present on this pitch, but Onza was a real star. We know his capabilities in front of net. He's one to sort of just pick apart the defense one at a time, play those 50s, play the controlled game. It's what he loves so much.
Lion likes to take these bits of open space, does manage to sneak it under. No flip presets, though. Plays that back pass to Ritzy. Oh, it's almost as if there was a bit of a dummy jump there from Mr. Spud. It forced the Buzzers to sit back and try and anticipate that first shot, which never came. Well played by the Army.
Nice little pop reset as well. to feed it through to the backboard as now we stand 1 apiece in game number 1 of this grand finals. It's Bluey to lace that ball clear. Mr. Spud with low boost has to sit and wait and let Bluey hit that shot on through. It's gone just wide of its mark, but fed his teammate Ruck perfectly for the follow.
Well, it was already really awkward for Spud on that back wall, and Bluey made sure to keep the problem going. Could have gone for a straight-on shot. Instead, knew that he could eliminate one defender just by forcing him to make that first chance. That is selfless, that is professional, but that's what you expect from a DreamHack champion.
Ritzy now for the air dribble across, and it's going to be Onza to be the bearer of bad news as he is up a bit quicker than they would have liked. Lion now down off the ceiling, has read it like a book. Top shelf for the man in orange, and you can see him take off right about now.
Oh! That's unreal. That is a champion caliber play coming from Lion. It's exactly what you would need to take down a team of that opposing caliber, but the kickoffs need to be put under better control. The Dragons have stolen the lead away.
5 goals, half a game to go. It's anyone's call, really. And it's one kickoff goal the direction of SEA Dragons, but bar that, we've got a very even game. Buzzards look at the shots to their name. Barely ever do I mention that in a series like this, but they've got 11 at the moment to SEA Dragons 3. Look how many they scored.
Lion off that wall, down to a Rook. Onza wanted to receive it, had an option on that opposite side as well, with Rook looking for that 1-2 play instead. It's a 2v1 with Ritzy being that sole player to try and find a teammate inside. Never really looked like that was the mindset of his two teammates. Lion shot from deep, doesn't quite come together. That corner read isn't there either. Instead, it falls back to SEA Dragons defense, but a Rook cannot find a teammate. This pinch won't get the net either, I believe, for a second.
Simple clearance for Bluey as Wack steps up to the plate. One player beaten, it could be 2 with Onza here, but he's found a miracle touch towards the side as that ball central for Lion pounces in front of net. It's down off the crossbar and finished in the heart of the Buzzards back net. 4-2.
This is an ice-cold strike from Lion. Receives that infield pass so well and just doesn't give up on the play. He's a pit bull gnawing at the ankles of Bluey and net. It's what was needed to extend that lead. This has been a huge step up compared to what we saw in the first minute, but the Buzzards still have plenty of time to respond, and they'll certainly send men forward.
Soft touch from Lion. It's straight back to possession for the Buzzards. There's Onza whacked out of the play, and Bluey's going to need to do some heavy lifting to keep this ball in possession. Finds the air dribble across. It's dunked away by Lion as the ball ricocheting back and forth, side to side. And it's confidence fully in the SEA camp at the moment, and very little offered on the response here.
Another fantastic pre-jump coming from Lion. We saw him doing that a lot in the semi-finals. It's nice to see, even with the stress of the competition in the Grands, that hasn't gone anywhere. Instead, on the goal line, able to add another save to his record. Spudbo had to make sure he hit that one perfectly. There was options on the opposite side. Buzzards only have 30 seconds now.
Really, the British Army Esports Buzzards that have found their own in this last 20 seconds or so of chaos. That's a great through ball to a Rock. Roars it off of that top crossbar. And you talked about the pit bull gnawing at the ankles. This time it's the grizzly bear himself.
This has been 2 of the best teams in the BFBS for 2 opens in a row. And they do not falter under the weight of the competition. It's the second grand final in a row where it's so tough to put a piece between them. So far into goal, that could change. Ritzy makes sure to hold his line, but it's another infield pass. Blue, he won't get the clutch. And Onza sees that ball drop in front of him, and the hopes of taking the opener are ripped away from the SEA.
Stage well and truly set here in game number 1, and it is just unbelievable, the quality of the game so far, Pegasus. I have to be
Wow.
honest with you, and just the connectivity, the connection between these players is on a scale we just simply have not seen, even this time last week. The SEA Dragons finding those infield balls, those through ball passes, those connections across the court, working together to fight for a reason to believe in that Pro League Grand Finals, which seems ever so close right now.
And SEA Dragons have that first game, of course, when it comes to championship so far in the open stage. That's where Buzzards have them beat. There's a chance to equalise with the ball. Looking back down towards Lion. Onza brings this ball back over to Spud. Bluey has to get that catch up high. That first touch is pristine. Sees space on that backboard. Bills away, calls towards the roof, but Lion manages to step up for the feet.
It's going to be contested between Lion and Bluey here in the corner as the ball drops down. And we're just looking to see who can be the first to sort of stamp their footing in the turf at the moment and make sure that they're pressing an advantage as the early shots go in the way of the SEA Dragons, who were oh so clinical in the first half of last game, making every single chance count.
Need to make every single touch count. We saw a lot of infield passes. We saw a lot of aggression, of course, off the ball from the SEA Dragons as well. You miscalculate one of those players, all of a sudden you leave that fine pocket of space, and the mechanics that are spread across this pitch will be enough to make the most of it. Onto another clean beat coming from the midfield line. Won't bear fruit on this occasion, but it's certainly going to help build up.
Onza needed to be there as the recipient of that through ball across, but just backed up a little too hesitantly for my liking. There goes one chance for the Buzzards as Ruck now steps up towards the infield. Maybe he's going to press it through Ritzy on the infield, but that avenue well and truly thwarted.
Ritzy has that ball boomed away by Onza, and Lion, with only 27 boosts of a tank, has to keep this one out of danger. It is awkward for a Rick to send that one front facing. Mr. Spud, however, has an easier time, disrupted by Onza. Blue in his own right, getting bumped away by Ritzy. This is starting to become somewhat of a dogfight high up the pitch. And with that, it's all cars left and low resources back towards the ground.
It's looking a little bit dangerous here if you're a British Army fan, as that's two blue players committed for that ball, and Bluey, thankfully the saviour from their point of view. Now the soft touch, beautiful, controlled in front of Mr. Spud, who quite frankly has had enough of it.
Yeah, he goes for another bump as well, but Onza just hiding inside that front post. Becoming increasingly popular as time does go on. Bluey wants two touches. Onza's there at the back wall. Importantly, Barak is on the edge of a 6-yarder. It's teetering across the line. But Mr. Spud had to make a touch, got the touch, and a little bit extra. You see panic in the neutral third. Buzzards feel cheated away from their first goal, but they've got to hold their bottle.
100 boost for Lion to play. Disruptor in the corner. Weave away that possession that Onza has. Control now in favour of Lion. Bluey's going to have to be hesitant here, but pushes it away towards the side, thankfully so from his point of view, as that ball now over to the backboard. One soft touch from Lion to keep it out of the jaws of death, as it's a double save on the back end. And we still stand at 0-0.
Onza has to catch this one on the half bow. He knows that Lion is coursing forward. Ritzy didn't even take a moment to slow down. Knew that was a 50 he wanted to commit himself to. This isn't the time to get indecisive. It is 0-0, a deadlock waiting to be broken. There's going to be magic or hesitation. No hesitation, though, on the side of Lion. It's two quick trips up high. Mr. Spud's heavy touch, though, won't find a teammate. They attempt to fight for possession back, but a rookie on his own is too much to pass.
It's more than a dogfight at the moment. It's full combat unleashed, really, isn't it, from both sides now, as Ruck is going to have to go on running back home, and does have 100 boost for his trouble as he's played the 50 back towards Onza, as Bluey now seeks his advantage. It's long past two, it's down off the backboard, but he just wishes he had 5 more boost in the tank, Pig.
Yeah, it's simply that. I had to make a prediction so early how that ball was going to come off that back wall. Bluey not even bothering with double taps this time. Straight shot towards the top corner is saved. A rookie's flip reset is not prevented. Instead, it was blocked at a later record. Now they've got to sort out Bluey, who's got a decent bit of boost this time. Already gets past 1 to 50. Strong still needs those finishing touches, but Onza is not going to be the one to provide it.
Lightning quick response from Ritzy in a very difficult circumstance. What is that touch from Rook? It's horrors for the Buzzards. They may have just let slip a crucial moment in the grand scheme of this tournament. And all it is a little side flip. That's it.
There's going to always be one mistake. There's no free strikes and you're out over here in the grand finals. It's single elimination. That's both in the formats and in the individual games as well. The Dragons put themselves on match point. But that was another one for me, Psycho, where I felt like that was the Buzzards' game to win, if anything, but it was just constant ricochets off that crossbar, which prevented them so many times. Mr. Spud was bailed out often on his own goal line.
Oh, it's absolutely right. And again, we glance towards the shooting department. 8 for Buzzards, 2 for SEA Dragons. And boy, if they made the most of the chances. Again, how often are we going to be saying that, Pegasus? And you're absolutely right. The Buzzards love a bit of crossbar action at the moment, but moving forward, I do think Buzzards are well placed to believe that they have a chance of a reverse sweep here. I don't think fundamentally they need to make any massive changes, and I think honestly it's going to be keeping that mental game afloat after that 7-second blunder.
It doesn't feel like the same 2-0 position when we were between the SEA Dragons and the RAF Typhoons, where it still didn't really feel like Typhoons had enough in the game to turn it around. Simply said, Buzzards have everything they need, except just an extra inch, perhaps, of the crossbar height.
Definitely so, but they're going to need more than just a couple of on the crossbar. They're going to need energy and a spark of life moving into the rest of this series, as Bluey is going to be the first player to establish a bit of clean air early on.
Oh, Ritzy wants the pre-jump, wants the bump as well. Rick actually did make contact still. Managed to power themselves away with one brisk touch to see the ball out of defense. Bluey tries to boom that one towards a Rook, but there's no two ways about it. Knew Ritzy would grab that one first. Instead, just took the time to rotate back. Dodged a bump, did Bluey. It's another crucial save early doors.
In goes Ritzy for the challenge in the corner. It's going to pave a way for what to start the counter-attack. Here comes that low touch, controlling play we know the Buzzards for, as Bluey tries to go laterally across the field, that time only finding a player in orange, and it's looking a little bit ropey here as Ritzy feeds the ball in field, and Mr. Spud certainly hungry for a first.
He can't stop mashing them in. 2 goals in the last game. Was so close to pulling off that hat-trick. This is more than just a championship on the line. This is more than equalising that top spot on the leaderboard. This is setting a statement to the rest of BFBS.
Absolutely so, and you have to think these games are going to be the one that live long in your memory. And if you're the team on top, you're going to be thinking, you've got a reason to believe when it comes to that grand finals, as Wuck steps up to the plate, heavy 50 down, waterfalling off of that top corner, as now there is that follow-up. It's Bluey to make ends meet, and Spud ever so patient to follow through.
I got worried when I saw him take that heavy touch before he'd be immediately pounced upon. That's just been the nature of the game. Instead, it just ended up being a bit of boost wasted on the chase back towards the ball. That slowed down their offense, and you can see already the Buzzards have taken that brief moment just to regroup in that neutral space. It's a lot of players on that far post side of Rook. Felt like they had to land that bump, but it's the threat alone which will help turn over possession.
No boost in the tank for the support lines of ruck here. Bluey thankfully able to grab up that back 100 and now has a chance to step forward himself. Here comes Onza, bashes that ball forwards and the demo comes through, but it's not going to alleviate that long-term pressure. Or is it, as Watt can't find contact?
Back down to Spud. Wanted that double tap of the floor instead. Onza double up on the chance instead. Ritzy has options on the left-hand side, but right behind, Lion was ready for any lost 50s going towards his way. And that has been something we've seen as a consistency in the way they play. They turn every loss into a win. They have to turn this defense into an offense, but Onza just will not quit. Bluey now going to be player in the possession.
Mr. Spud so sprightly downfield, just waiting for his chances to disrupt and just get in the mix. So often is the recipient of those beautiful finishing touches that the SEA Dragons have provided in this final so far. Bluey now with 0 boost towards the corner. He's going to have to play for a 50 on the counter, but no contact. SEA still there.
Ritzy stopped by a Rick again. Just shy of 2 minutes left on the clock now, and well, we speak about golden goal. The platinum goal might have already been scored by the Dragons if the Buzzards do not force out a response. That's not going to be convincing. Down to Spud. Onza clears it above the crossbar. Ritzy's 2 touches just about reached the way of Lion, but Buzzards have been a bit jumpy. Bluey on his lonesome, can't get the pop reset. Ritzy is called to action twice and answers correctly both times as well.
Brilliant recovery off that first save from Ritzy and was able to find the follow-up. There's 2 orange players absolutely hammering each other downfield, trying to scarper away from the defence and just keep this 1 minute at bay. And now is when the nerves need to settle. If you're an SEA player, Bluey is in the mix-up and he's struck from that left-hand side as if there wasn't even a defender there.
We saw in the last game, he was denied of that late equaliser. This time, he makes sure there's no ifs, buts or maybes on the table. It's front-footed, it's professional, it's a rook off the ceiling, blocks at that front post. Onza is denied of the follow-up opportunity, but now there's some life on the side of Buzzards, panic on the side of Dragons. Spud has to find some calm, but Iraq keeps the pressure.
Moment calamity favours the Buzzards. They're hungry for those nitty-gritty moments in front of goal. They began to find some real shooting form. Onza now towards the right-hand side to open up the space. Bluey in hot pursuit behind as that pinch perilously comes towards a ruck. He does make that touch stick.
Ritzy does well to control it on his own corner. Late drama has more potential, especially with that bump opening up the space. Ritzy keeps that ball high. Will be looking to aim the ground for a foreseeable future. Bluey still looking for the one more. Ritzy just taps it over. And an OT calls. It's a must score for the SEA Dragons.
It's been beckoning, this individual game win for the Buzzards, but we know how quickly this game can change. All of that hard work, all of that series improvement can be undone in the blink of an eye. So they're really going to have to settle their nerves and the tone of this OT as Onza now. Lovely commit towards the corner, just pips that ball in front of net, sets Wuck up for future.
And right down off the ceiling, a Rook has to take this one up the right wall. Manages to hold on to all momentum. Lions there, but Bluey is there even quicker. The weight of the potential second place finish was a ton of feathers on the rest of the team, but Bluey has used it to soar to a game 4.
It's a snapshot of a punch towards net. And the man of the hour, Bluey, has done it once again. Lion probably thought he was owed that infield touch. He probably thought he deserved that chance to keep the ball slow, keep it tempered. But when you see those early challenges, that hunger come through from the Buzzards, you really begin to question things.
an unreal finish. And you saw how hard Bluey was really hunting for a chance like that. And it must be said, Aruk has had quite the series so far as well. But of course, it's about being that difference maker, actually getting the countable goals at the end of the day. And that's what Bluey provided late in game 3.
Definitely so. And Bluey downfield with the flick. And the extended first man just looking for every bump, every bit of disruption that he can get. And you just referenced what? Well, he's made another one work.
Insanity from Bluey. Cutting on the wing as if he still plays for PSG.
Maybe another chance here. Ritzy drawn out for a pre-jump. And that's when you start to think things are really getting shaky. When you can't keep your footing flat on the goal mouth. But it was a save, and an important one at that. 1 goal still for the Buzzards. Make that potentially 2. That ball drops on down. Bluey next up, and it's squeezed on through. And that brick wall defence we know SCA can be so secure of suddenly has one big gap down the middle.
Cement's been wetted by the floodgates opening on the side of the Buzzards. The wall is starting to topple. The Dragons are starting to get slain. But we saw this all before in the grand finals of Open 1.
Long was it predicted? It's another shot towards net and an opportunity. It's just gone by the wayside for this SEA Dragons side. Look again at how stretched thin this defence is. As they are just biting off far more than they can chew. And I hope for SEA's sake that they can start to recoup some of that solidity back, Pig.
Shot on! You asked for solidity. This one was rather one-sided. There's a neutron star and a bonnet of lion. And that was enough to power through on that 50.
Heavy touch. 124 sailed towards that top left, and it was an ominous sight for the defense. We just had to let that whiz on by and forget about it. Move on as if it never really happened. And in the commentary booth, I'm not sure either of us thought it was going that direction.
Absolutely not. And we have the fortune to the bird's eye view as well. I can only imagine how the players feel. Shot on from Onza. Didn't expect this one to find the target either, but it's just got the power it needs to catch the final man off guard.
That is a disgustingly good finish from the British Army Esports' star man across years of high-level competition. And we know he can deliver in these highlight moments when the going gets tough, when the pressure is on. Onza steps up to the plate oh so nicely, and he's just got that mentality about him where he wants a win and he wants it bad.
Ritzy going for a redirect of his own, so I will read vote. Ends up being the pass towards Bluey. That couldn't get laid off to Onza. That early flick from Lion vote immediately showed his cards. We know what we expect here on the infield, though Onza and Bluey did double commit to that one. The chaos continues to be ensued with the bump landing on the Rook as well. But even in a disadvantageous position, we see that recovery come into place and they just about get it out of danger temporarily.
Onza with an early dive, and it's going to be enough to threaten Ritzy into a snapshot in front of goal, and that often has been what has worked for these teams so far. Infield ball towards Lion, and every shot this game has been pinpoint perfection.
It's a very simple game plan on paper for the SEA Dragons. Find some space, play it on the infield. Any three of them know how to pull the trigger. So tough in practice, especially when you've got the Buzzards against you. But they have somehow managed to find those moments, and I must say the Buzzards have definitely conceded a few of their own accord. Too many double commits for my liking.
Onza needs to keep this settled. Backs away, smart head on his shoulders does Onza have. Bluey allowed into the play to thrive, and it's this communication as a trio that seems to be paying off for the Buzzards. They're getting themselves out of these tight situations as another ball threatens the target. A ruck next up to the plate as Ritzy hopefully isn't going to bait Onza into a challenge he will regret, as the SEA Dragons still finding their footing for a response.
Louis has boost. Onza, though, has a better position, tried to get the pass across instead. It's going to be another tussle right here in the neutral third. It was one sacrificial touch from Onza to lay the ball off to Bluey. Now a rook's out that near post. Bluey almost got it all done on his own. Now we can see the second man trying to get involved. The position feels like it's already worsened.
It's a very deep second man as well for the Buzzards at the moment, as every time they come forwards, they're making sure, let's keep the defence solid first, make sure the chances of that counter-attack are nigh on impossible, and you can see every solo play venture is just met with such arrogance from the Buzzards.
And, well, both teams have had their opportunities to play arrogance in this series so far. They've earned that. That's how they've gotten into this grand final spot in the first place. Bluey for another 50. That 1v3 we saw at the beginning of this game will not repeat itself. Ball over the top, right off that back wall. The SEA hold it down into the corner. This is the fourth game 5. The Buzzards need to hold on for 20 more seconds.
Ball goes wide. Ritzy is next up. But Wack still managing to find some semblance of pressure to keep that ball in their favour. Lovely touchdown from Onza. These seconds rapidly ticking on down, and Bluey, the last man called into play. Onza just has to let this clock tick on down.
Oh.
It's a simple touch to the wall, and he's going to drop it down. Lion managing to keep it afloat. 2 players bested have spun now towards the corner. And the British Army Esports roster that has long beckoned an opportunity to enter that finals as the top seed have made a topsy-turvy series pivot to a chance of a reverse sweep.
Oh my word, those final few seconds, that stressed me out from the Buzzards. I thought Onza was just going to keep it down to the ground. As soon as I saw him going up the wall, I started to see visions of disaster. But that has been this series as a whole, Psycho. It just feels like at any point, anyone can concede. And as soon as you drop the ball, just for a second, those unexpected 50s, just at a halfway boost, end up flying towards the back of the net. One piece of advice I'm going to give to all 6 players in this 5th game. You can rest when you're dead. You need full concentration for these 5 minutes of regulation, and dare I say, any extra here on our last Champions field.
Well, here we go then, the final showdown. And we mentioned the tale from last week. It was SEA Dragons who fell victim to a very hungry Buzzard side who were able to just fight for every little crumb of opportunity that they had, and these last 2 games have been a fundamental restructuring, a fresh look at what is a series that was originally going so far out of their control.
Rick tries to take some control on this left wall, does well, but any advancements are disallowed by Spud. Lion tries to find a teammate, tries to delay any possible chance here from the Buzzards to the first few 30 seconds. It always does feel like there is a bit of a settling time required from both of these teams fresh off a break. It's what Bluey was able to take advantage of so early on in the 4th. But of course the stakes are much higher in this one.
Lovely poach away from Onza. Here comes Wack towards the corner. Wack, lovely spill down. That's a wicked shot from Bluey. And it's just been tickled in by Onza at the goal line as well. Or is it the other way around? Well, Onza, 148. I mean, what more can you say, Pig? It's beautiful.
Gorgeous. You saw that angle and you thought a shot is unlikely. And the response was simply, but not impossible, from Bluey. It's perfectly placed. He's been well poised late into this series to go for these fights back against the SEA Dragons. And well, how do you handle this match situation? Still got plenty of time on the clock, but I tell you what, it's going to go very, very fast for the SEE guys.
solo play venture for Bluey. Seldom do we see the opportunity to see that man show his full colours when it comes to the mechanical department, as he offers all of that stability and security elsewhere on the pitch. Now he's stepping forward as the star man, getting it done the hard way. All by himself as now that ball pushed to the right-hand flank, a ruck with no boost, but otherwise that would be a massive threat. Easy save away from Spud.
There's a good tester from Monza, just forces out those heavy touches and not able to control it out of defense, and that's a good result. Bluey able to challenge high on that right-hand wall. It flips across towards the left-hand side. The switching of the play, however, is actually in off the possession. Bluey pongs it back towards that opposite side. And, well, it is actually returned there from Ritzy as well. We got quite the rally. That could be broken by a ruck on the back wall, but Onza doesn't want the immediate challenge.
Yeah, he was fearing getting dunked there, so just fades away the player. It's good game management for a player who knows he's 1 goal up. It could be 2 here. The shot comes through from Bluey. Perfect positioning from Lion, who's going to have to find a 50 here and does so. It's magic defence from SEA.
And I'm not sure if that's a save that gets made later in this game. With every few seconds that pass, it's an extra BPM and a heart rate for the players as well. But he was able to hold his bottle, time his run off that backboard, and managed to keep this ball out of danger. It's still into those quote-unquote safe corners they try to tell you. You never feel safe when it's the SEA on the prowl.
Infield ball, that's a shooting chance. And Bluey's absolutely whiffed that one. Now Wuck for a secondary opportunity, pitches it down. Through goes Wuck. And there's 2 SEA Dragon defenders in awe of what he's just achieved.
It looked like it had been completely lost. He had to control the recoil off that secondary touch. But the ace was still up his sleeve. The flip was still waiting to be used. That is an insane way to go 2 goals up for a player who has so many eyes on him. Mr. Spud can't handle the pressure here. Arun can just run this one home. It's 90 seconds, 3 goals on. The Buzzards could do it.
Is that all she wrote? Is that the last of the SEA Dragons? Well, they've got 1 minute 30 to change the agenda. Back left kickoff towards Spud, and a solo play venture needed as the 50 goes through. Wuck overly aggressive on the challenge, gives a chance for the bite back. Here comes Ritzy in front of net. Squeezes it in with the tippiest of his fingertips, and it's 122 to that back right.
The Dragons starting to